Paladin of Conquest, male. Need to specify.
What'd you take, Mike?
All right, Michael Freganator. I mean, I've been on here before, so playing Gaston, the human noble. Uh, don't even want to get into his classes. I've got three of them. None of them match. We'll figure it out as we play.
And last but certainly not least, intern Jake.
Hey, I'm Jake. You can find me right here on Nerdarchy, mostly pushing papers and menial labor. But tonight I will be playing Conrad Farrow, who is a nature domain cleric. You know, the popular one.
Nice. So if you guys jump down to the description below, you will find not only a link to rpgcrate.com as well as a coupon code Nerdarchy RPG Crate to get 10% off your first month's crate. So if you like what you see here and you want to get this adventure or adventures like this and more stuff beside delivered to you each month, go sign up for RPG Crate. With that, we are going to jump into the Archon Awakens. So, the Fae were once an ancient race said to be born of the gods. They were wielders of great magic, able to mold reality as a smith forges metal. So, you have been brought in by Braden, a old elven, sage, for lack of a better word. He's a guardian of this elven temple, which has been recently ransacked. He feels that what is inside needs to be checked for should it get out, it is a danger to everything, not necessarily in the area, but everything as a whole. There was a creature that has been locked away for millennia, and it needs to be checked on, and his frail elven frame is not suited to the task. So he has asked you, noble adventurers, if you were to go inside, check on it, and see what has transpired.
This is not usually the side of issues with elven temples that I find myself on, so I'm going to follow your leads on this one.
I got distracted by the puppy.
So
That's just our animal companion.
Walking into the main area of the temple, you would see a tall, lithe human figure with short, dark hair and a relatively short, unkept beard as well. He's wearing chainmail and seems to have a raggedy piece of lumber strapped to his hip and a shield over his back. He looks around and narrows his eyes, looking at Braden, and he says, "What is the matter of this beast? What do you have any information to give us?"
It is a creature of old. It is referred to as an Archon, things that don't normally walk this world, anymore. They are a thing of the past, but it has been kept here, imprisoned, so that it cannot get out and wreak havoc across the land. It was once, an attunement of nature, which is why this shrine, this temple, is here. But alas, it's a being whose power is so great that if it comes into its full power and gets out, it is something that will rend the landscape anew. It'll shape it to its desires, not to our own.
Sounds like something that needs to be dealt with.
Yes, indeed. This sort of thing, I can't in good conscience let it stand.
So did you guys go into the temple? Is that where you were, Conrad? Or were you outside the temple?
I mean, I was under the assumption that that Braden was in like the entryway of it, but if we're
Okay.
discussing,
I mean,
if we're
it's 6 of one, half dozen of the
yeah.
other. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would basically just been if he's inside, then I definitely would go in to speak with him.
All right, so the Temple of the Light, once beautifully covered with flowers and ivy, now stands in a field of broken and burned trees, a grim testament to the humanoid's destruction. So something, has come through here and laid waste to this temple, as Braden had said that something's attacked, and he's unable to go in and see what the insides are like. The building itself, it's structurally sound. It's in good condition. It just the pews are broken or shoved aside. Anything that you can see in this room that might have been of value has clearly been pulled off of the altar, off of the wall. It's been clearly, as I said, ransacked. Further in the back, you do see an altar, and behind the altar, it looks like there's something there. Gaston, you're actually Caldron as well. Your eyes are pretty sharp, so looks like there's something behind there that just doesn't seem to completely sit right. It's not a doorway, but the wall does not seem to be fully solid.
There aren't even any bloodstains in here. This is amateur work.
No, there are no bloodstains in this room.
You said that there was a body, correct?
In this room, no.
Okay, that's sorry, misinterpreted.
There's pews and stuff that have been destroyed and pushed aside, and then I said that everything of value that would have been here or could have been here has been taken.
Can I cast Mage Hand and see if it that area where it looks like something's not quite right, if that's enough force to make it more visible?
Absolutely. And I will also point out, I always forget to do this. You always start off with inspiration, so you guys have that. You can use that to do all the typical things that inspiration does. Give yourself advantage on a roll, give advantage to somebody else, or give a reroll to somebody else. However, but you cast Mage Hand and you push on that weird section of the wall, and it does move. It does appear to be a secret entryway, doorway. You noticed it pretty easily, so obviously so could have somebody else.
Nothing. Go ahead.
So as you approach to where the altar is, the altar looks as though it were carved of petrified wood, but closer inspection reveals that it grew into the shape of the altar, no doubt with the aid of druidic magic. Caldron, you would know that this is ancient magic to be able to shape trees into things while still keeping it alive. So it still has like that nice solid top of an altar, but then the trunk of the tree kind of goes off to the sides, and it makes almost like this basket where on the sides the branches or trunk of the tree continues up and goes up towards the ceiling while still being able to be a usable altar and not block the view of those patrons that would sit in the temple.
Caldron's going to be really kind of enraptured by the creation of this altar, and he's going to just kind of be studying it and trying to take mental notes of how he can do this in the future. And he might get a little lost and kind of lose attention for the matter at hand for a moment.
So are you studying at it? Are you praying at it?
I'd say studying it, just kind of looking it over.
I'll walk up next to Keldrim, looking towards the altar, and say, I've heard of practitioners in the East using small weights and other training devices to change the shape of plants, but this seems a bit beyond that.
Yes, whatever did this was probably one of my ilk, druidic magic of some sort, if I had to wager, I guess.
I've dabbled, but it's not what I would consider my strength.
Forte.
Yeah.
So obviously you brought up the whole thing about weights. You can shape things that way. This was not done by weights with any with any way. This was clearly powerful magics to force not only growth but growth in a particular direction.
I am pacing like a caged tiger, waiting to get on with it. But like out of character, I'm not trying to rush you. Just my character is impatient. That's his flaw.
So I gotta ask, do Rylan and Kaldrim travel together? Because these guys do not seem to be a nice happy pair. Is this the first time that these two are meeting, or are we
Probably?
Okay.
I'd say so. Kildrim goes where nature kind of takes him, and this is clearly a natural occurring or druid-related type occurrence. So he was a little confused when a drow paladin dressed in all-metal armor kind of showed up to something he would consider more his territory. But he's withholding judgment. He doesn't jump to conclusions.
Oh yes, quite a ponderous fellow you are.
So what is Rylan's weapon of choice?
Greatsword.
As all paladins tend to do.
And drow.
Well, there's always Rild. Yeah. Rild was a famous drow with a greatsword. So there's precedence.
There's more than one famous drow?
Yeah, there is.
Sacrilege.
Conrad will.
I mean, there's got to be more than Jarlaxle, right?
Yeah, there you go.
He's the only one I ever think of.
That is my favorite drow, to be honest with you.
Ditto.
Same.
Conrad will leave.
I like Massage as well, but that's just because of his name.
I'll leave Kaldrim to his studying of the lectern and move over to Gaston. What do you make of this hidden passage?
Your mic's muted.
Oh, he's eating. I picked the right guy.
Who was he talking to?
You.
Gaston.
Oh, I heard Kaldrim.
No, he said he'll leave Kaldrim to his studies, and he'll go over to Gaston as you bend down to eat something.
Yeah, I was stuffing my face full of cup noodles. My bad.
It's all good.
I said nothing shot out at me when I used my mage hand to open it. It should be safe after you.
So it does open, and it's a small passageway. Nothing that any of you would have any trouble getting through, and it leads staircase down.
Oh, if there's an open door, I'm walking through it. I did not notice.
Gaston had pushed open a secret door that was behind the altar with a mage hand.
Conrad will take the shield off his back, buckle it to his arm, and start following behind Rylan.
So Rylan, you begin walking down this narrow set of stairs. It leads into a small room. There are 2 rows of pews and a double door against the back wall about 25 feet away. The pews are broken and torn asunder, burnt to pieces. It is only through your typical intellect that you can see, like, okay, if you put these pieces back together, they were probably pews, but not a single one of them is left alive, or left intact, I should say. There are roots that come up on the floor, on the walls, on the ceiling, and there are some roots or vines hanging down from the ceiling, not so that it's in your face and you have to walk through like a jungle. But as you step fully into the room, the vines drop down lower and kind of coalesce into a humanoid form. Uh, the vines make a head. There's no discernible eyes or ears, but two of the vines split and it begins to speak. Why are you here?
Well, I heard that there was a big nasty thing down here, and I heard that that thing was potentially nastier than I am, and I intend to prove that wrong. These guys are probably doing some do-goody stuff.
I was going to leave because I was afraid of it, but now I'm staying because I'm more afraid of her or him.
Kildren's probably just realizing that everyone left the room and is catching up at this point, just as the thing finishes talking.
You'd best make way. We have business to attend to. We do not have time to trifle with houseplants.
What he said.
Your words are aggressive and do not belong here.
Apparently neither does the thing that took this place over, so why don't you let us get rid of it for you, and then we'll be gone too.
You wish to slay that is within?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
We were told that the Archon is a menace. What do you know of it?
The Archon is an ancient being, one that cannot truly be destroyed.
It has not met me.
I offer him a high five.
I will be the judge of this Archon.
Then let your fate be sealed. And the just as quickly as it coalesces, the thing disperses in a set of vines, and it parts, and there's a clear pathway through the room to the set of double doors that's there.
I've not met such ill-humored plant life before, but pay it no mind, I suppose.
I have. They can be ill-tempered at times.
I hate plants. No offense.
Kind of looks around.
I would keep that opinion to yourself here.
There a door.
All right. Most likely when Rylan motions to the double doors and starts moving, Conrad will be right behind.
Kildrim is actually keeping up at this point.
So what are you doing?
Double door.
Are you going through?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm assuming, Rylan, you're heading the way?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right, so you push open the double doors. I imagine your aggressive manner is I'm pushing both doors like this and striding confidently in the room.
Yep.
Unlike the room before, this room, it's like the floor is normal. You don't see the vines that were in the other room. There's no roots in the ceiling, but half the floor is covered in some thick green. I don't know whether it's mold, vegetation. You're unsure exactly as to what it is, and only after a double check as you look across the room, sweeping, looking not necessarily for plants but for threats, as you are so used to doing. You see that the vegetation is kind of crawled or covered two humanoid bodies, partially, as you can. That's what make them stand out, as you can see. Green-fleshed humanoids that are now half covered by whatever this green stuff is.
Can I make a nature check or do something to try and identify the plant life that's covering the bodies?
It is a green mold.
Okay.
If
I have
if you're proficient in nature, I'm not even going to make you roll.
Okay.
I have a stick. We could poke it.
Caldrum, what do you make
Yes.
of this?
Some sort of green mold has grown over the bodies.
Do you
Not
know
quite
what,
sure how it got here.
do you know what this is capable of?
Would I know what green mold is capable of doing?
You're pretty sure that this is not natural and probably shouldn't be here. Um, you would have to say that if you come in contact with it, it has the ability to infect whatever it touches.
It's not supposed to be here. It's a mold of some sorts, but I wouldn't expect it to grow in a place like this. Also, I wouldn't advise making contact with it. It's infectious in nature.
I'm tempted to viciously mock it to death.
I'll survey the area. The size of the room and how many paths of egress within the room other than the one that we came through.
The room is 15 by 30. 15, 15 is your long, 30 is your wide. It is the left side of the room that has this green mossy mold on it. And there is yet another double door, straight ahead.
Okay. And then the green mold is only kind of like on the left portion of the room. There
Yes,
is a clear path to the double door.
Yeah, if you skirt to the right, you can get around what's there and get to the double doors.
Okay.
While we're doing our check and walking around, even if it doesn't take effect in this room, I don't care. I'm just gonna ritual cast detect magic.
Okay. So you wanna take 10 minutes to ritual cast
Yeah.
detect magic?
Like I if I can do it while walking, I don't mind unless these guys want to wait for me. But they can even go. I don't care. I'll catch up. It's worked well for me in the past, so.
Would it be possible to get within 10 feet of one of the bodies without making contact with the green mold?
Yes.
Okay. If you give me...
technically, it's almost impossible to not get within 10 feet.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense with a... Yeah. Okay, I'm with it. I'll motion for a halt, and I'll say, if you give me a moment, I might be able to get some intelligence on this area. Maybe find out what this Archon is.
All right. Rylan takes a step back and starts pacing around the back of the room and doesn't get any closer.
So you could go to the right and have like a clear 15-foot path that you can worry into the floor, or you could step back into the room with the vines if you need more space than that to pace. But
I know 15 feet is perfect.
I'm going to stand a few feet behind Conrad, just kind of looking around, examining the mold, trying to get a closer look and make note of it for the future.
How close do you get to it or the body? Or the bodies, because there's two of them.
I'd say I'm probably within 5 feet of Conrad. Other than that, I'm trying to keep my distance from the mold.
Exactly 1 inch from whatever the trigger point is.
Well, what is the trigger point?
Conrad's gonna sit down on the cold stone floor, cross his legs, and from a satchel on his side, he'll light a small stick of herbs that puts a scent into the air. And as he does, he'll move his hands around the smoke and push it forward towards the bodies. And as the smoke coalesce, it'll start wrapping around one of the bodies. And I'll cast Speak with the Dead.
Okay. So the magic kind of pulls the body and it's like kind of twitches and move, almost as if it's fighting against your spell. So like the one half of the body that isn't covered in this moss, this mold, it reacts normally, but the other half, it's kind of like twitching, and it's like moving much more aggressively towards you, but without control of the other side of the body, doesn't quite get there. But
Okay.
it's the entire time that you're conversing with it, it's twitchy, it's moving, and if you get too close, like it does, lash out at you.
Sorry to bother your rest, but I have some questions for you.
What language are you speaking?
I'll start with common.
What do you want?
What has done this to you?
It kind of looks at you. Make an insight check.
You took so long, I totally thought you froze. I'm sitting here going, crap.
19.
Oh, crap, dice.
19. All right. Your question was very vague.
Intentionally so.
Okay. He's trying to figure, like, because you're limited on what you can, like, how many questions that you can wind up asking.
Mhm.
And, here you're presented with, like, okay, did he die from something else and then the mold happened, or did he die from the mold? So, like, it's it's a touchy situation.
Wherever he wants to take it. I'm not here to judge. Just saying, I haven't died.
I was slain leaving the chamber. He kind of looks, and a surprise kind of takes him as he sees half his body with with these spasms and really no ability to control it. This, and he points with his uncovered hand, must have come later.
Do you know what took you down?
The creature, the being of power within. It was imprisoned, unbeknownst to us, by a spear of incredible might.
Do you know the location of the spear?
If any of my companions survived, it would be with them.
And if they didn't survive?
Why would it kill you upon leaving?
Its wrath is great. How would you feel if you were imprisoned for a long time and you were finally free?
Hungry. I assume I'm nowhere near it. I just happen to be within, like, passive perceptionness, and I just answering myself under my breath so no one can hear me.
Well, you are within 15 feet of this thing if you're in the room. So
That's fine.
You can hear. Otherwise, you're back in the room with the vines, or you've somehow pushed ahead and not told me.
I'm not leaving again. I did that last game. Stupid mimic. I even told you it was a mimic before I touched it.
Yes, you did. So that was 3 questions so far, correct?
I think that was 4, but maybe I mismarked.
You asked it. How did it become like this? What
killed
killed
it?
you? And whatever the last one was.
Okay. Then it must have been the question I didn't ask yet. Well, do you know? Sorry.
You had asked. The last question was, "Where's the spear now?"
Okay. What would be the nature of this beast, the Archon?
I do not have that information.
And of the compatriots that you know that survived, where would they have gone?
They would have headed back towards the orc stronghold.
Does the voice and the bone structure belie orc?
No.
Okay, so
Yeah, this would sounds like an orc. I mean, it's coming through that foggy haze of magic and death and all that jazz. But yeah, you're convinced that it was an orc. It's telling you it was an orc.
okay. Yeah, no, I think that's my 5th. So
It was.
yeah,
May I rest now?
to your piece. He'll wave his hand, the smoke dissipating.
All right, make a dexterity save.
I'm going to use inspiration. 14.
All right. So you kind of sense what's going to happen, and as the body goes limp, it falls forward, allowing the body to be able to cover a little bit more distance, and the moss-covered side once more lurches out at you, and you manage to avoid this thing touching you.
Yeah, as Conrad stands to avoid this, he'll actually just hold out his hand, staring at the mold, and in a stern voice, almost in a strong whisper, will say, "Halt." And then he'll get his things together and brush off his tunic and move back to the others.
Are you well, compatriots?
We have more
Not going to have
information.
to cut that hand off, are we?
No, worry not. There is no creature on this plane of existence that does not bow to me.
And
Maybe we'll have to test that someday.
Wow.
I
He must
believe
be
there
hanging
are
out with
ways
squirrels 'cause I
to
think he's nuts.
Okay,
Right
guys,
into
let's take a vote in the chat. Who is more arrogant, Conrad or Rylan?
seeing the body kind of lurch out at Conrad, Kaldrim is going to take a step back, get a little nervous, and he's going to cast Produce Flame. Just kind of hold his hands together and just have some of the balls of flame like in his hands at the ready. And if he gets particularly close to any of the mold, he wants to like kind of hold the flame between the mold and him. I think it will stave it off.
So anyone want to say good gracious about that?
But
Alright.
say, if I know anything about mold, it's either super doesn't like fire or super loves fire. Those are the only 2 options.
I'm glad I'm far away.
There is no far away in a room this narrow.
Far away.
Conrad will, his tactical mind will kind of mull over as his eyes kind of dart between the room as he starts making his way to the double doors. And he will cross a couple sylvan sigils across his chest as he does. And he'll cast, I'll cast Death Ward on myself.
Okay. That's always a
I
fun.
am right along after, not to be outdone. Not nearly as cautiously.
Not nearly outdone, meaning you two are casting Death Ward, or you're just following behind Conrad?
No, I'm not casting Death Ward. I'm just following behind.
So you get into the next set of double doors. This is a square room that's 15 by 15 with another set of double doors at the end, and this room is littered with orc bodies. There's at least a dozen bodies. You can't step without getting within a breath of a body or piece thereof.
Is there a spear?
Oh, this is more like it.
No, there is no spear that you see within this room.
I'll kneel down to one of the closer bodies, kind of looking over everything in the room, but specifically on one body. I'll start to inspect it. Do you mind if I chuck medicine to see what the cause of death was?
Yeah, go ahead and make a check.
I'm going to cast guidance to try and help him out a little bit, so we can get an extra D4 on that.
Okay.
With the guidance, that'll be a 30.
Wow. All right, so
I'm a medicine guy.
massive impact trauma.
Okay.
Something of considerable force and considerable size slammed into these creatures, breaking bone, bruising body, breaking bodies with impact. You know orcs. They're typically thick with muscle, thick with bone, and yet whatever attacked them destroyed them.
Is it relatively fresh?
Within the last couple of days, yeah.
Okay. And then, is there any telltale signs of magical trace, such as burn marks or residual, like discoloration due to magical poisoning?
Or active magic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the world works. I don't know if I can actually like taste and feel residual magic if it's potent enough. But
There doesn't seem to be any magic that you can feel lingering with this.
And it looks like all the bodies were dealt with in the same manner and probably about the same time. Like this was a large battle against one or many things that were capable of doing intense bludgeoning.
Yes, you don't have any way. You don't have any way of knowing whether it was a single combatant or multiple combatants that were fighting the orcs.
But they were at least dispatched similarly and within a very short time span of one another.
Correct.
Okay.
Like, Conrad, does this look like it was a weapon of some kind, or possibly like someone dropped big boulders on their heads? I mean,
it's possible it was a weapon, but it would have to be quite massive. My intuition would lean towards something of incredible girth.
When Gaston mentions boulders, Keldrin just looks up.
With a check of a 30, technically that is the threshold of impossibility. Like if you spend some time, you could be like, look, that's the imprint of a fist.
Okay. Yeah, and Gaston would need time to finish his detect magic anyways, so I'll take the time to peruse and looking at the bodies and finding a couple that have really good remains left, and I'll motion to Caldrim and say, here, does this look like a bald fist to you? About the size of an ogre's?
Probably a little bit bigger than an ogre.
Something large for sure.
Yeah, at least a well-fed ogre. Whatever this was massive. Rylan, are you prepared to fight something that could dent that nice armor of yours?
Are you?
No, but I've never met a foe that I couldn't dispatch.
It'll fall hard.
So what do you do?
Keldrim's going to whisper to Gaston, the tension is palpable.
Conrad will put his gloves back on and then move towards the double doors.
Sorry, I was laughing at chat. Carl Maxon says it's a Tarrasque monk.
Now I want that.
Right?
Make it happen.
I'm
I
going to
wouldn't
have
be
to
ready
add some
for.
class levels to my Tarracan.
That's got the most kung fu.
Move over Kung Fu Panda. We've got Kung Fu Tarrasque.
Still voiced by Jack Black.
Kick, punch, block.
Yes, please. I would watch that movie.
But
yes, the doors.
yeah.
Onward.
Right back on the rails.
So the next room is circular. The chamber floor is made of marble, is now broken and mounded with piles of dirt and bone. The massive altar to the east is the only object not shattered or decaying. Relief carvings on the walls depict a battle with the forest Archon and the Fae driving a spear deep into its chest. A green mist swirls around the room.
Suppose this would be a good time for Gaston's detect magic to pop.
So the mist that you see swirling around the room, you see tendrils of magic kind of sliding from the dirt, and you would hazard to guess coming from the plants around it. As you enter the room, you begin seeing some of that same energies kind of begin pulling out of you and your companions as well. As you fully enter the room, you do see an aura of magic around this huge huge humanoid being that is lying limp on top of this altar to the east. It seems to be made of like tree trunk limbs, vines that wrap. It's got like a mantle of leaves along its chest, down its back, long varying shades of browns and greens, tendrils of roots, growth, call it what you will, mock what you would have as hair. Brilliant emerald eyes glow with power as the head turns and the creature stands looking at the four of you.
I
Did
draw my
anyone-
great sword, and then I don't move yet because I don't know if we're gonna fight this thing or not.
So it takes its long limbs. It rises it up and it clenches it into a fist about the size of your chest for the average of you, and in a deep booming voice it stares at you. Each of you feel as if it's looking directly into your eyes, and you hear the voice come out, deep, strong, rich. Loyalty or death.
Are you the Archon?
Loyalty or death.
My loyalty is to the natural order of things. Are you willing to allow nature to exist as it should? Or what are your plans? What are your intentions? We need more information if we're going to agree to any loyalty.
He moves quickly, far too quickly for you to really react, and slams you in the chest for 13 points of damage.
No, that was entirely uncalled for.
Quick, Caldrum, cast Roundup.
Ow!
He looks at the rest of you, as this punch is happening. Loyalty or death. I do not ask again.
Dead. Yours. And I attack it.
All right.
Con.
Roll initiative, please.
All right.
Go ahead and put it in the chat, please.
Oh, glad I roll like
8.
myself.
Was it a 1?
No, I'm not not a halfling, so it would.
Keldrim didn't think he would say this, but he agrees with the drow on this.
Don't worry. I got this.
I can't use initials this time because we got 2 J's and we got 2 M's.
Oh no.
So, Mike, is that really a 10 that you rolled?
No,
What's the +2 dex for then?
just because Megan's was the same,
Ah, okay.
so I don't know. I didn't know how you did it, and I didn't want to interrupt the game.
That's fine.
5e rules or player's choice.
Alright, 11 is Conrad. We'll put 8 with, who are you, Gaston?
The guy with no dex modifiers, second.
Alright, so...
Damn, I keep turning to Druid.
Alright, so you guys, pull out your weapons, but this guy was already in your faces.
Mhm.
But since Rylan has proclaimed that he is going to leave the Archon's death, he is going to come after Rylan. So we have, that's a 16.
Bring it on.
So he hits you once. For 14 points of damage, and you take a step back to kind of, take some of the impact off, and his second fist, comes in, and is just the narrowest of margin as his fist comes across your face. Kaldrin, you're up.
I am going to cast Flame Blade using a 4th level spell slot.
Nice.
So Keldrim just kind of summons a sharp, almost dagger of flame in his hand, and he runs up and just tries to jab the creature that punched him in the chest in the back since it's ignoring him.
Go for it.
That is a 23 to hit.
That hits. And is this some fire, all fire?
It is all fire, and it is 12 points of fire damage.
All right. The bark that makes up most of his form seems to be slightly resistant to the effects. So your natural instinct of using fire on plant sounds good. It does not seem to have the full effect that you were hoping for here.
Keldrim's going to kind of recoil a little bit from the hit and kind of call out, "Fire's not working."
Is that all you got?
Yep.
All right, Conrad, you're up.
Conrad will calmly interpose himself to this creature, and without being phased, will pull off his right glove. And on it, he has the tattoo of brambled thorns and vines together. And he says, "You want loyalty? I am only loyal to the Archfey Garadil, and you will submit to me. I will channel divinity charm plants. He'll have to make a wisdom saving throw versus DC 16 or become charmed by me and everybody that I designate within the party."
So he kind of looks at you and, laughs at your paltry attempt to charm him.
All right. Well, we have an answer. Then, as with that, I will then bonus action Shillelagh, as we're about to get with the beat stick, as the paltry piece of wood on my hip becomes a massive club of green ethereal energy.
Nice. All right, Gaston, you're up, sir.
I will say your fire didn't work, but how about mine? Go ahead and make a dex save, DC 14 for fairy fire.
the magic attempts to cling to it, and it just kind of shakes, and the long locks of vines, roots, call it what you will, seems to just glimmer with motes of energy, and your spell kind of fizzles.
I go, well, you were right, and I start tiptoeing backwards.
Is that what you got?
Oh yeah, Yep.
All right, Rylan, you're up.
Okay, so I come in with my great sword. I am going to smite at level 3.
Paladin smite.
Let's see, that is 15 to hit.
15 is not going to do it.
Dang.
So the way like
All right,
you don't.
so do I lose the spell slot anyway?
No, you don't have to declare your smites till you hit.
Oh, okay.
So like you make contact, and that's when you unload your spell slot into it. So you are good.
I get you.
So you
All right,
you come in, and it just bats your sword aside.
And my second attack is a dirty 20.
A dirty 20 hits.
All right. So
The concept of the dirty 20 is a rather new thing for me. I find it weird.
I just
Now
would
I
like to know what one feels like.
A dirty 20? You don't even know what that feels like?
So
It's been a long time since I've rolled above a 5.
That's 11 slashing damage and 20 radiant.
So 31. So you come in, your first strike he just bats aside, and he kind of like laughs at you, and
then I grin.
You take that moment to be like, it was a feint, and you just bring the sword in, radiant energy just swells from you, climbs up your great sword, and you hack into his left hip, and you leave a sizable chunk of bark that gets blasted onto the floor, and you feel the full weight. No longer do all 4 of you feel like you have his attention. He turns solely to you, Rylan.
I am laughing and very pleased with this.
Almost a crit. So he comes in at you 3 times. The first one, catches you on your arm, and it, you've had that dead limb before, where like for just a moment you just don't feel sensation in it before. You don't feel sensation in it for just a moment, as like the nerves just like go into overload. He hits you again, driving you a step back into one of your companions, and yeah, again he's coming right for your face. You just barely dodge to the side. You take a total of 25 bludgeoning damage.
All right.
And we are up to Keldrum.
All right. Seeing my drow ally, which is still a strange concept to Keldrum, get pummeled by this thing. As my bonus action, I am going to use my Balm of the Summer Court ability, and I am going to expend 4 of the D6s for that. And not a bad roll. Rylan can gain 16 HP, and you get 4 temp HP on top of that. And that's my bonus action. Then with my action, I'm actually going to stop concentrating on Flameblade because that seemed to not work, and I am going to use...
It worked, it just didn't work as well as you hoped.
Yeah. I am going to use Primal Savagery, which is a cantrip. So I'm going to just kind of focus for a second. My hand's empty, and you kind of watch as out of almost my fingertips claws appear, only they appear to be made of some sort of acid, and I'm going to make an attack with them. That is a 25.
That hits.
All right, so this will be
Yes,
acid damage.
Yes, Mike. There are in this game we do have double digits.
I don't want to hear it.
That'll be 13 acid damage.
Have me roll a perception check. I can't get lower than double digits on that.
Swiping away at this thing.
All right, so you scratch into his hide, and the acid seems to burn away a little bit of the bark. You didn't manage to get to the hip that Rylan had hit. He's kind of turned that hip to the side, to kind of keep the more wounded area away from you. So that's your bonus action. Your action. Are you moving at all?
Nope, that's all I got. Does the acid damage seem more effective than the fire damage?
Yes.
All right.
Conrad, you were up, sir.
All right. With a keen martial mind, he'll slink to the back, going behind the foe, and he will bring his ethereal club into the air, and he says, "You will submit to me or the cold." And he'll bring it down, crushing into it. 22 to hit.
Hits.
Yep. And then in a burst of cold, the creature will take 5 bludgeoning damage and 2 cold damage.
2 damage is not, all that much, but you're uncertain as to whether or not the cold had full effect or not.
Okay, and then that will be it for me.
All right. So, am I correct that all of you are now in melee with this thing?
I have not been.
Okay. All right. Fraginator, you're up.
So, just out of curiosity,
Yes, sir.
would my character feel like this thing was created by some sort of magic?
I don't think you'd have enough information to make an educated decision on that.
Okay, I'm just gonna cast a spell magic on it then. See what happens.
Okay. So are you casting?
Oh, I have. I only have 3rd level.
Are you casting it specifically on him, or are you covering the fact because we have a couple magical effects that your party is maintaining as well?
Oh no, it would be pinpointed on him. I don't want to blanket all of them as well, if possible.
So you cast your magics on him, and he looks at you and is like, "I don't think you understand the nature here."
Yeah, I'm not a fan of nature. You're probably correct.
And yes, I specifically chose nature purposefully.
And then I'm going to tiptoe 3 steps further back.
Rylan, you're up.
Excellent. Okay, so swinging. First attack is a 17, second is a 10. I know the second isn't going to hit. Does the first?
The 17 does hit.
Okay. So, smiting again. Once again at level 3. Let me mark that on my sheet real fast. I should have done that before, and I apologize. So that would be 6 slashing and 18 radiant.
Six slashing, 18 radiant.
Actually, that's not true. I have the thing that lets me reroll. Is it 1s or 1s and 2s on damage dice? Yeah, it's 1s and 2s the first time. So let me really quickly. So that's 10 slashing and 18 radiant.
All right, so 28. All right, so you blast another chunk. This time he gets his right arm in the way, and you blast a blast a chunk of bark and a little bit of flesh this time. Off of him. You see not blood, but juices,
Sap.
sap, whatever you think might be inside. This is the first time you're actually seeing blood being drawn, for lack of a better word, on the creature.
Cast wood chipper.
I didn't prepare that spell today.
It's not on the druid spell list.
I use my bonus action to tease Conrad about not doing as much damage.
The first attack that looks like it's going to hit, I am going to use cutting words on.
Okay. So again, 3 attacks are going in at Rylan. So how much are you reducing the attack by?
5.
5. It still connects.
Bloody mother. I finally rolled a good number on a d6.
I actually rolled high enough on the die to connect. So
Nice.
So he connects solidly with you this time, 3 times for 31 points of damage.
And I apologize, he didn't even hear my sappy joke.
Did you say 31?
31, yes. I want to say yes, sir, but it's weird.
I'm playing a male character.
Yeah, playing a guy, so all bets are off. Get her.
All right, so that's me. We have Caldrum next.
Am I able to maneuver myself kind of around this thing so I'm next to Rylan?
Yeah.
And without provoking an attack of opportunity?
Yeah, as long as you
Okay.
as long as you stay within melee with this thing,
Yep.
you can just kind of circle and get to his front where he's facing off against the paladin.
All right. I'm going to step up next to her and kind of whisper, "You're doing better at this than I am," and just kind of touch her on the shoulder and cast Cure Wounds. I will cast it at... I'll cast it at 3rd level.
The dirty wood elf is going to touch you. You going to allow it?
Hell yeah.
Tell him to leave you alone.
I'm arrogant and kind of impatient, but I'm not racist.
That'll be 17 HP.
Thank you.
And I will end my turn.
All right, Conrad, you're up.
Okay, Conrad will raise his club again, and with a smirk to Rylan across this thing, we'll say, if all that bravado hasn't blinded you, maybe you'll keep your guard up next time. I'll bring it down. 23 to hit with, rolling those fat ones, 5 bludgeoning and 5 cold.
All right, so now you are certain that the cold is not having the full effect.
And just curiosity, is the bludgeoning?
Bludgeoning's fine.
Okay.
You guys have determined that he is resistant to fire and resistant to cold.
Okay. Well, we'll find out if it's lightning next turn.
You have not.
You'll find out this turn.
Yeah, you have not found out whether he's vulnerable to anything that you've used. So,
Acid is normal.
acid is normal. Radiant is normal.
Conrad and I had the same thought at pretty much the same time, seeing that the fire didn't work well and the cold didn't seem to have an effect. I'm going to chromatic orb him.
Okay.
Lightning.
Okay.
26 to hit
That hits.
for 19 damage.
All right, so you blast him with this energy, and it crackles all around, and it does not seem to have any effect.
This is why I don't wizard. Any at all?
None at all.
And unfortunately, a lot of plant life is either immune or healed by electric energy.
I know that, but my character didn't.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but all right.
Well, it's the the typical nature of the game. There's a lot of plants that like, it gets a haste effect if you blast it with lightning.
Oh no.
Honestly, that's kind of what I was hoping for.
I was just hoping to do it
easy
with
for you to say.
Saboteur.
This is not one of those. I'll quell your fears now. It has no effect by applying the lightning damage.
Like,
Sorry,
Ryland is not concerned. I am very concerned.
So, all right. Is that all you got, Mike? Gaston?
Yeah, sorry, I was dealing with a kid.
It's okay. Ryland, you're up.
Yes, okay. So, first attack is a 14. I'm assuming that doesn't hit because the 15 didn't.
The 14 misses.
Second attack is an 18.
18 hits.
Good. I smite at level 2.
You know a 15 misses and you know a 17 hits. That's what you've figured out so far.
All right, so that would be the old 10 slashing and 10 radiant.
23 hits too, as long as it's not lightning.
You had a 26.
Whatever.
I know you don't normally go that high, but
I said the wrong number then. I meant 23.
Oh, wow.
Because it was 17 plus 6. I just can't add.
All right, so that's... So you blast into it, and it takes a hit to its midsection, and it seems to really begin to slow down from the impact.
Those ones aren't working.
You might say we're whittling away at it.
Yeah. But it's not through yet, and that brings it back to me. And since you're pretty much taking this thing down, he's not turning his attention from you, Ryland.
Can I use my cutting words on the first one again?
You want to use your cutting words on the first one again. All right, what do you have?
5 again.
5 again. Yeah, does not seem to delay the attack from hitting.
I was going to branch out and use a different tactic, but...
You just can't leave that one alone, can you?
Nope.
I don't have enough puns. I gotta bow out.
You both are the root of all evil.
All right, this time the impacts seem to get a little bit harder. Just I happen to roll higher. He slams into you. 1, 2, 3. 43 points of bludgeoning damage.
Ooh.
Are you still standing?
Let me see.
I'm pretty sure her spirit
yes,
behind her is
only
leaving her body. How many hit points do you have? Holy crap.
I have 74 hit points, and I have taken 62 points of damage if you count the healing that has been done.
Oh, I forgot about the healing.
Yeah,
I was thinking you had like 600 hit points.
Well, last round she was healed for 17,
Nope.
and I think it was like 16 before that. And there were temporary hit points that
And then I had some temporary hit points.
I'm doing my best.
So, like, our druid is really pulling his weight.
Yeah, not like that cleric over there.
My heals come when it counts.
All right. So Kaldron, you're up.
Kaldron's gonna kind of like catch Rylan as she's hit by this thing and kind of like push him back up, and I'm gonna cast another Cure Wounds, this time at level 4. And that is significantly better. 14.
I like that. I like significantly better.
Wow. 34 hit points.
Thank you.
Nice.
And as I'm casting it, I'm going to kind of say to Rylan and Conrad, can we stop with the banter and deal with the matter at hand, if that's all right? And I will end my turn there.
All right, Conrad, you're up.
Conrad will once again raise the club and say, "Elves, no humor." And we'll bring it down. 24 to hit with his 9 bludgeoning and 2 cold.
So the it reels back. It's kind of shaking, but it's still standing. Gaston, you're up, sir.
All right, well, I will do my chromatic orb again. 24 to hit, assuming math.
Assuming math. Okay.
I'm doing acid this time. 13.
13. So you coalesce this orb of acid into your hand, and you throw it. It splatters on this thing's chest. Comes up into its face. Across its limbs, and it just starts to sizzle and pop along the bark that's there, and the eyes. He quickly turns his gaze from Rylan to Gaston, and you feel his full weight come upon you as the glow from the eyes just slowly starts to go out, and it sprawls back on the altar once more.
I let out a whoop.
I would like to, just to make sure it's dead, cast Vicious Mockery and say, I hope you get termites.
It does not react, but Gaston and Keldrum, you see ever so slowly, the wounds look like they're closing up.
Oh, you're kidding.
Not
Whatever.
not quickly enough to, have done anything during combat. But as you look around and you take notice of this thing, make a, Conrad, you can make a medicine check. Anyone who's got Arcana, if you want to make that kind of check, I'll allow.
Do Arcana. Well,
13 on medicine.
Ooh, 25 Arcana.
With your medicine check, this thing's body does seem to be knitting. Gaston, you kind of, now that you've faced this thing and seen what it's done, this thing clearly has power. The gem-esque eyes that this creature has. This is a a true being of maybe divine origin. This is a shell. Like, this is just the husk. It's got the ability to be elsewhere and just regrow this body. It's not done. If indeed the information you had that the spear that imprisoned it, you're probably gonna either need to get out of Dodge or go find this spear and once again bury it back in this thing's chest. If you want to keep this thing from just getting up when it's done sewing itself back together. Are we all right, Rylan?
Just swear words. In Drow, because I know them in Drow.
I was going to say Underdark expletives.
Yes.
Underdarks internally. I'll look to Gaston and say, what do you make of it?
Without the spear, I don't think we have a chance of keeping it down permanently. We should go before it gets back up.
It sounds like we'll be dispatching of this foe once again if we're not quick enough, and we'll have to make a quick trip over to our orcish fellows not far from here.
I think we could take it again if we had to, but I'd prefer to rest first. And that's the only begrudging admission you're getting out of me.
Yes, guard is not something that you're privy to, I suppose.
If it comes to the need of resting, I can help us there.
I can provide a little bit of concealment where we decide to rest as well.
Perhaps outside, make camp, make plans.
So you exit the temple?
Was there further to go in here, or was that the thing?
That was the end.
We should drag it with us. Maybe it can't reform if it's not in here.
I think taking it out of the prison is probably the worst move.
Shh, I don't know nature.
So as you guys exit the temple, Brayden kind of hobbles over. So what did you find within?
You're screwed.
Archon is within. Dispatched.
We killed it, but it's a damn cheater.
Dispatched it, but not as effective as we would have liked.
So the prison was not intact?
No.
I was afraid that this was going to be the case. The spear held this thing from enacting its will upon our land. If only we had stout defenders here when the orcs attacked. Alas.
These orcs, do you know where their encampment is?
There are any of you trackers? There are footprints here of those who fled the temple. You might be able to track them.
I look to the wood elf because maybe I am a little bit racist.
I'll look to Caldrum and say I have done some rudimentary tracking. What about you?
I'm not proficient in the art, but I'm not bad at it.
If only we had my family's hunting dogs.
I will, I guess I'll request the aid of Caldrum's powers and kneel down and see if I can make sense of the tracks.
Of course. Am I able to help
He's asking for a guidance.
Yeah,
Yep.
guidance.
And or help action, but it's up to...
All right,
Yeah,
so
it's up to you what you'll allow.
All right, I have no problem doing the guidance. If you want advantage, then Caldron, you're going to have to make a DC 10 check.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go ahead and roll for that. You got an 11 on the die.
All right, so advantage plus a D4.
Sick. Should have just stuck with your die. Because my 1 and 2 are not dealing it, but my D4 is 4, so that's good. We're gonna crush it with this here 10.
So his assist is better. All right. Well, he's pointed you to where tracks are, and you're like, yes, clearly they're here. You follow them for a little
Back
ways.
into the tunnel.
I've never seen orcs with backwards feet. We should go that way.
Caldron just kind of scratches his head and doesn't say anything, not wanting to be rude.
So you follow them off a ways, and you kind of get lost in thought. You're muddling over the fact that this, you're a nature cleric, and you're kind of trying to combat some ancient nature creature that's not really good for nature, and you're a little bit arrogant and kind of annoyed that the drow fared better in combat against it, and you got these things mulling around in your mind, and you look down and you've kind of lost your trail.
Well, unless these orcs are expert at camouflage, I believe that the trail has gone cold.
Or maybe you just need to backtrack and figure out where you got off the trail.
Yeah, Conrad's not one to admit to that, so the trail's gone cold.
And here's where we go completely off book
No,
and just do whatever.
it is possible that there are a few things that they would have left behind had we go back to where the trail was strong.
Perhaps they split up and we can find the tracks of a different one? Keldrum kind of suggests, hoping Conrad will at least accept that.
Perhaps these lands may be a little bit more to your nature. I come from much different areas, so maybe you take a strike at it.
Of course. Should I roll a survival check to try and...
Sure.
Okay. I also got a nat 1. So with my 5 wisdom, that's a 6.
So you're unsure where the trail was. Right now, you're not seeing any tracks. You know that back there, you were both kind of following the tracks and talking about them. And, Conrad was like, all right, I got this. And you started walking. You kind of, he's the one that knows how to do this. So you kind of led him to it. And after walking for a while, he doesn't see the trail. You don't see the trail.
6 months later, the NAG releases the fact that 4 moderate-level adventurers got lost in the woods. Never to be seen again.
I'd like to remind everybody, I think I'm the only one that has used their inspiration.
No, I used it earlier when did I?
That was last game.
Was it?
Sorry. In your random flailing, I did not realize that you had used it.
In your random flailing, wow.
Can I go ahead and use my inspiration on that survival check?
Sure.
All right. That's better. A little bit.
6. No.
Look at this guidance that happened, because I also have it. You get +3.
+3. All right, that'll boost it up.
Okay.
17.
So while these guys are looking for the trail, I'm gonna find a tree to sleep in.
While she's looking for the tree, if that's what we're going to be doing, is staying here, I'm going to take 11 minutes to make a tiny little hut.
17 was my new result.
All right, so if you backtrack to the point where you remember seeing them, you realize that you stayed on the main path, but about 20 minutes ago, there was a false trail, and they kind of backtracked and the core group went off into the brush off trail.
Cheeky bastards.
I have dropped a D4. That means that there are caltrops loose in the house.
Well, if you get the the ones that are like D8s or the ones that are like D12s, they don't become caltrops.
They roll better too.
Well, I will eventually be taking D4 damage, but until then, we will. If the path has been found, we will then take that path.
All right. So, are you looking to take a long or short rest in said hut, or are you?
If the hut's up, I guess we'll take a short rest. Why waste it?
It's no waste.
Well,
Other than 11 minutes.
I mean, you went to the trouble of getting us a nice little hemisphere, so it's comfy.
Temperature controlled.
There you go.
Tend to our wounds and whatnot.
Tend to your wounds.
All right. So does
You know what? I hit the thing. I
True.
did some, I actually marked on it, and what did you do? Made threats and tried to freeze it to death, and it didn't work.
I was
Yeah.
also punched at the beginning of that combat, so I do not mind resting a bit.
I did nothing, and then nothing, and then nothing, and then killed it.
Hey, you use valuable resources.
Hey, I'll get my channel back. That's no big deal. No crying here.
I'm good with either a short or a long rest. I don't care.
short rest seems a lot
I
more
extend
That's the
hit dice.
worst pencil ever.
Are you
You're just saying that because you don't want me to get my smites back.
Honestly, nor I nor Conrad could care less about your smites.
No, I'm just teasing. I'm actually not as worried about the orcs as I am worried about that thing. We definitely need to long
Yeah.
rest before we fight that thing again, though.
Nah, we'll be fine. I didn't even open my toolbox yet. You'll be alright. Oh, speaking of which, during that said short rest, Conrad, taking measure of Rylan in the previous fight, will try to do it as he's. If you haven't noticed, he's not good at conversing with a lot of people delicately. So he will do what he can as I sidle up to you, trying to be as little, reducing the obviousness as much as possible, and open up a gloved hand with 2 rings in it, and he'll say, "Here, the next time we face a foe, if you are wearing this ring, I will shoulder the burden that you feel."
And I will gladly take one of those, and I'm going to be like, I'm really curious as to what would happen if the 2 of us went all out against each other, but I think we could do better working together, so... And I nod.
Okay.
And
So-
while this rest is going on, I will play my homemade instrument that sounds terrible. So anyone spending hit dice gets 1 extra hit point.
Nice.
Yay.
That's 1.
Hey, I'm not that kind of bard
So,
or wizard, apparently.
If Rylan isn't familiar with it, that is warding bond while you're wearing it. You have resistance to all damage and +1 AC while wearing it. And then
Sweet.
I will take that other half.
And now that you're doing that, now is when you engage in combat with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because he has to use an action to end it, don't you?
Yeah, but anytime Rylan hits me, they also take the damage.
Right.
I guess it only works one way.
No, it's
No,
just one
it's
way, isn't it?
One way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I believe it's only one way. I'll double check it. But,
We had a wizard who was in the party, and a cleric cast that, and the wizard totally was like, "I'm gonna go into melee now."
Nice.
Gotta love Scott.
It nearly killed the cleric.
Yeah, it's only one way.
It's a fantastic spell, and it's amazing how many ways that you can be like, between players and GMs, how you can convince spellcasters to stop using certain spells.
Yeah.
Nate refuses to ever prepare Blade Barrier ever again. Just will not happen.
No wood chipper?
No wood chipper, because I will find a way to put him in it.
Well, I will say I haven't activated the warding bond yet. So far it's just been hollow words.
We are the most anime friends ever at this moment, and I'm pleased with this.
All right. So, is there anything else that you want to accomplish during your short rest?
I spend 2 hit die just to make note of that.
All right, just as long as you're making note of what you're expending, you only get half your total back during a long rest. So,
And don't forget to add that 1 hit point. Could save your life.
Kaldrum just kind of sits, not wanting to be a part of the awkwardness that's going on between Conrad and Rylan, and listens to Gaston's music, and then wonders if he did the right choice.
It's like,
Trying to conjure cotton to put in your ears.
We only get the 1 HP because we're like, that reminds me of good music.
Song of Rest. Almost useful.
Song of gouging my ears out.
All right.
All right, so you take your hour rest. You shake off some of the stress and the wounds of the fight with that ancient creature. Wondering what it's up to. Like, you've been resting for an hour, and you kind of walked for about an hour to get to this point. In 2 hours, is this thing back on its feet? Is it already waiting for you to come back, or is it still barely sewing its wounds together? You don't know. So you go back to the point where you saw the trail. You follow it off the beaten path, and it's heading towards the mountains. You follow. After a ways, you come upon yet another battle. You see half a dozen orcs that have been battered, burnt, cleaved, and crushed about the area. With the survival check, as you've been following these tracks, you see large footprints, clearly humanoid, clearly barefoot, but they dwarf the size of the orcs that lie dead, lie cleaved and crushed. You see the trees in the area and some of the wounds on the orcs show scarring and burn marks.
You mentioned ogres before, Conrad. Perhaps?
Or a very large dwarf. I heard the word dwarf.
You heard the word dwarf, but dwarves don't have large feet. Not that's large anyway.
I'm worried about these telltale arcane signs. Something has passed through here. Flames.
Does anyone want to make an investigation check?
I'll do it.
I'm pretty good at investigation. You want me to help, or should I roll one as well?
I'll drop a guidance.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, guidance is fine. I mean, if somebody wants to help, that's up to you guys. I don't. It's
You can either help or make a separate roll.
I have a 24 without guidance.
Oh, I'm gonna put these dice down.
All right, looking around, the size of the footprints, clearly whatever made these has got to be 10 to 12 feet tall, minimum. The size of the weapons that would have left this kind of damage definitely fits with that size. This is bigger than ogres, and given the fact that there's burn marks in the wounds and in the trees, you're like, well, let's put two and two together.
Fire giant?
What does burning and big at the same time? And you got it.
Flaming dire great clubs. Could happen.
Fire giants?
Yeah.
It would appear so.
So whether there was like a planned meetup and the fire giants left with whoever was left, or whether it was an ambush by the fire giants.
Either way, it escalated quickly.
Either way, the orcs that you were following are dead. There's no spear here, and fire giants head off into the mountains.
On the bright side, fire giants will be easier to track.
So the wounds that we saw inside of the, for lack of a better term, we'll call it tomb.
The temple.
Temple, thank you.
Same thing.
Were similar, if not identical, to the ones out here.
Not at all. The wounds inside, you would have said came from the fist of the Forest Archon, whereas out here they are clubs and swords.
Okay.
That were hot or on fire.
I did not realize the Archon was so big.
The Archon was
A heavy hitter.
Didn't I say it was huge?
You did.
Okay.
I missed it as well. Don't feel bad.
Maybe I heard little H, not big H.
Ah.
Like, it's pretty big.
You had me at made of nature, and then I just kind of tuned out.
Oh, no. Right. So we shall follow the fiery footprints.
Well, these are not hard to follow, and after a jaunt, couple hours by your pace.
If it's taking a couple hours, I just flavor wise would like to note that every hour or so I'm playing with a drop of mercury for a few minutes until a tensor's floating disc appears, and then I'm riding it. I don't want to walk that far.
Can you ride a tensor's floating disc?
I will tie my rope to my hand and make it like a crawling claw to pull me.
Just put wheels on the bottom of your.
You can ride tensors. It's just kind of slow.
I don't think a mage hand is able to pull a tensor's floating disc.
Without him noticing, I'll just tie it to the back of Rylan or however you say it. He won't even know. It's big and burly.
I'll know, but I won't care.
In my mind, you don't know. At least twice, though, I wasn't paying attention to the time because I'm looking at other things and then fall and hit my butt on the ground and have to start the process over again.
Well, I can't blame you since my cleric has a chase armchair as his steed. So
I guess tensor you can't actually ride it. I mean, you can, but it won't.
Not
move.
with that attitude.
yeah, it's programmed to follow you. So
Yeah.
you got to find a way to make it move. But
One of us could ride.
That's true. We can.
that utterly destroys his laziness.
That's true.
So where's the barbarian aspect of this character?
I haven't gotten hit yet. You can't make me bleed my own blood, or else I go red.
It's like multi-classing's bullshit.
Or if you make fun of my music, which no one did enough to piss me off.
There you go.
That would have been funny. You're gonna rage on your own companions.
I was going to if someone said anything, but nobody really brought it up. It's not in character.
Honestly, Ryland's kind of tone deaf, so he wouldn't know good music if it did him on the arse.
All right. So you find yourselves, at this large, cavernous opening in the mountains. 20-foot tall. If it's an inch, and you guys look around and this is where the prints are leading. Clearly, if something's that big, this is an entryway fit for somebody of a giant ego. What do you guys do?
March right in.
Yeah, but say if it's an entryway for Ryland and I, we might as well walk in.
All I heard was ego.
Right.
Keldrim probably quietly mumbles something like, maybe we should plan. Okay, and just kind of follows along.
Fear not, Caldrum. All the plans are already in place.
I'll take your word for it.
We plan to get squished and burned. Not necessarily in that order.
My favorite.
So the entrance to the cavern is more of a steam room. The heat from the lava forge beyond is superheating the underground river, and the pressure of the cave pulls the steam here. As you move further north and descend toward the next chamber, the temperature begins to rise considerably.
I am not happy about being in this plate right now, I'll tell you that much.
So who is wearing heavy armor?
I think.
I'm
let me
wearing
check.
half plate. I think half plate's medium, isn't it?
Oh no, I'm wearing chainmail. I'm good.
All right, what about you, Jake?
Yeah, I'm wearing heavy armor, but it's chainmail.
Well, chainmail is
Heavy.
Medium.
medium, isn't it?
Is it heavy?
No,
it's
chain-
heavy.
Medium, isn't
chainmail
it?
straight heavy.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right.
Okay.
You're thinking chain.
Well, yes,
shirt?
I am wearing heavy armor, in fact.
All right. So
Basically, if you can't use
I
the
must
Dex
be.
mod, it's heavy.
okie day. All right, so just be aware of the length of time that you are in this area. It will have an impact. So up ahead, actually, it doesn't. Even Jake's piddly little 14 passive perception, you can see illustrious double doors in the distance and two massive towering forms flanking the doorway.
Greetings.
Those are statues, right?
Well, you're in the distance. I'm giving you enough leeway if you want to discuss or whether you're planning to head in
That was
strong.
my discussion.
Yeah. I guess then, if we're in the distance, then I'll look to the others. Do you have any qualms with engaging them in conversation?
I feel as if that will lead to engaging in something else, but
I think for our paladin friend,
I
conversation
say
is
if we
battle.
can persuade them to assist us, that would be. No, I think if we can persuade them to assist us in our endeavor, that would be for the best. I don't think that they want this world covered in vegetation any more than we do. And that
Probably
spear
less.
can't be anything more than a toothpick to them.
All right. Well, then I guess we'll stride forward, not
It-
being coy about it.
When we get within 120 feet, if you would like, I could send them a message that we like to parlay.
I don't know if probing their mind just yet is the need.
Giants tend to be very simplistic creatures.
Just
I say this
offer.
quietly, very quietly.
So what is your demeanor? How are you approaching?
Common cool despite the environment.
I'll throw a preemptive guidance on Conrad, so I don't have to cast magic in front of the giants.
Hands out to show that I don't have any weapons in my hands. I'm just following him, though. I'm like a step behind and to his left.
Also, no weapons.
I only have a walking staff.
That's all I have as well.
Nobody expects the plank of wood.
I have a weapon. It's just not in my hands. My hands are where they can see them.
I thought no one expected the unexpected.
That's
Or-
what I named it.
or the
It's
Spanish
carved
Inquisition.
unexpected. All right. So yeah, Conrad will step forward and say, "Greetings.
What language are you speaking in?
I'll be the braggart who starts in common."
So it responds in a guttural, deep voice. Do you speak
Okay.
giant?
I don't right now, but in about 1 second I will.
Tongues.
Yeah, I'll wave a hand, and basically halfway through the sentence it'll start coming to me.
Okay. So you hear the final part. Doing
Prepare
here.
to die.
I'm sorry. What was the
Doing
final part?
here is the last part of what he says.
Okay. Obviously, to everybody else, it'll sound like common, but to these guys, it'll sound like giant. And
Nice.
but I will say, we are here searching for a spear. Have you claimed one within the last few days? Maybe a bit small for your ilk.
I have not, claimed any, but if you're coming for a spear, coming to the Fire Forge is a great place to get grand weapons, even ones for your tiny little hands.
Excellent. He kind of motions down to the rod of wood that sits on his hip. It might be of use of a new weapon. Seems a paltry one in comparison to one of your might.
So, you come seeking trade, barter, or purchase?
Most likely purchase, but we're also looking for information. By chance, either the two of you know of anybody who's come across some orcs within the last few days?
I mean, orcs don't pose much of a threat. If we fought any, it's probably be some of the kin inside, and really don't call it fighting. It's kind of more like target practice.
Mind if my cadre and I speak with them?
I can allow you a safe passage. If you cause any problems, just know there's enough of our kin about that you'll be done wrong.
No problems intended. We will be in and out as quickly as possible, and maybe you will be the richer for it.
Make a
I agree.
persuasion check.
I'll chuck that guidance that's on me. Sweet. No, not sweet. Let's check it out. It's got a whopping 8.
8.
Can I assist by giving my best friendly face?
And you're just doing a friendly face, or you're doing a drow face? Give me
A drow-friendly face is a human grimace.
It's my best, I don't mean you any harm smile. I do have a pretty high charisma, to be fair.
Well, do you want to attempt to step in and take over the conversation? Because things...
I don't speak giant. I just understand what he's saying, and I know he's trying to
Well, you don't know that he's speaking giant. You're hearing him speaking in common.
Oh god, this could go very bad.
I was about to say, but you do hear them speaking giant at me without missing a beat.
Yeah, that's probably not a huge jump to make. I'm just gonna kind of open hand pat his shoulder and smile in a sort of friendly fashion, which I'm probably not very good at. I'm just trying to get him advantage.
Yeah. All right. Well, then make a DC 10 persuasion, and if so, then you can get
If this goes bad,
If
this goes bad, I'm ready in Crown of Madness.
Oh no, that's terrible. No, but I rolled a 19, so.
All right, so then you can roll with advantage, sir.
That's way better. Yeah. 20.
Yeah, you got it.
23.
Yeah,
20 on the die.
you almost doubled what you needed.
Yeah. Appreciate your movements, Riley.
So, the fact that, he kind of is like, look, we're okay, keeping the hands totally visible, and yeah, I'm a drow, but it's okay, I'm a nice guy. So they open the door.
Hashtag not all drow.
So they open the double door, and you see that it takes, even their hands, a bit of strength to move. You might have been hard pressed of how to open this door with, had you felled these guys.
Okay. I guess I'll move in and peruse the surroundings, see if I can.
So as you step forward, you're in everything here is going to be massive to you guys, considering you're in a place of giants. They open the door. They don't give you any guidance as to where to go. The door closes behind you, and you're now just kind of in this, large room. There's a set of stairs ahead of you, maybe 50 feet, and it's stairs over top of molten lava. There's a moat around some, massive stone building. Again, the stairs lead up to that. There's a set of double doors, to either side. Again, 50-ish feet away from you. Where do you wish to go?
Well, Conrad, did he give any directions?
Not anything of use.
Figured as
Gaston, any ideas?
Is there a way to avoid the lava?
Well, there's stairs that go over top of it that go into a building. So, you fall off the stairs, you're in the lava, and
I'm not confident with my ability to climb giant-sized stairs.
I don't think you have like a 3 dexterity. I think you can manage the stairs. You know, they're not. It's not going to be easy, but you're not like in danger of oops, I slipped and now I'm in lava.
All right.
It's not my dexterity I'm worried about. It's my dice rolling if it comes to that.
I mean, it's stairs. Like, how do you climb stairs that where you're just all nibbly bibbly, like getting like, whoa, stairs?
Well, earthquakes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Don't cast that. Okay. My guess is that nothing's ever easy in the world. So Conrad, looking to Caldrum, will say, "Do you want to place bets on if it's the top of the stairs that where the individuals we're looking for?"
Yeah, that's what I would wager.
Onward then. I have 180'd my attitude here. I am treating these giants like I treated my sisters back home. No eye contact, just kind of like withdrawn.
I think
Alright.
climbing these stairs is going to take a little bit of time, right? Like you would say around the realm of like 10 or more minutes.
Yeah, 5.
Oh, okay, not even that long. Okay,
Yeah,
disregard.
it's not, you know, it's not massive. It's not like you're climbing the, you know, the pyramids.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Then I'll just start clambering up them.
Are there die rolls involved?
No.
Okay, good.
There are no die rolls to climb stairs in a giant's house.
I don't know how big they are. I mean, they could be a few feet. It's hard for me to climb a few foot. Like getting on a counter, that sucks.
So these doors, unlike the ones that were on the outskirts, they actually swing with just the lightest bit of pressure.
Okay. I was gonna knock with some thaumaturgy. We'll just go in.
So as you step in, the site has a 10-foot tall solid steel anvil with thick legs, allowing it to stretch over a 20-foot wide lava flow. Next to the anvil are several large ceramic buckets filled with coal and a fire-hardened stone forged, carved into the shape of a fang-toothed mouth with flames roaring from within. A fire giant standing at the anvil leans over the forge and with his bare hands reaches into the flames to remove a sword that is glowing orange from the heat. After a quick inspection, he pushes the blade back into the coals and stretches and yawns.
I'll step forward, making myself obvious, and say, again, sounds common, but to him it'll be in giant, saying,
How long does the spell last?
an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, and Conrad will say, that is a fine blade.
It not done yet. What it looks down at the 4 of you. What are you doing here?
We're looking for a weapon, but one in particular.
Oh well, I mean, there's no greater forge than this one, and you know, I'd have to say I'm a pretty damn good smith. What is it that I can make you?
Well, make might have to be done, but we're wondering if a spear was brought in, more on the maybe the size and use of one of our ilk.
Oh, you talking about that toothpick them greenskins had?
Exactly.
Oh, I think Ardor has it.
Do you happen to know where this ardor is?
I'm gonna whisper to Rylan, probably hold up in the larder.
He's probably over there. He points off to his right. You see a set of doors. You know, the room that you're in. Again, I keep saying it's massive, but you know, there's multiple avenues to go within here. He points behind him. There's a great hall. Uh, there's fire giants that are milling all around. You see a couple down the one hallway. Looks like it's sleeping quarters. Behind where the smith is. As I said, is the great hall. There's a couple tables. There's two fire giants that are there having a conversation, and eating. And there's a couple off of the great hall. There's two rooms, and he points off to the right behind him, your left. Um, from the great hall. So you would have to pass through. You'd be passing, 4 or 5 giants to get there.
Okay. I will give him a nod of appreciation and say, thank you for your aid.
So about that purchase.
What do you have more of the styling of one of myself and my compatriots?
Take him.
I don't have anything ready. I tend to make stuff, and he again pulls out the sword that's 8 feet long. But not saying I couldn't work small.
No, I believe you have every capability of doing so. Would you mind if I speak with Ardor and additionally my compatriots to see what they might want in particular? We came here mostly out of intrigue. We weren't sure exactly what we were looking for, but now that we see such an impressive smith as yourself, we'd be hard-pressed to leave without something.
All right.
Is he speaking in common or is he still in tongues?
Tongues.
I mean, hey, Conrad, are you getting something made?
Potentially, but we can discuss that. We don't want to waylay this good fellow any farther. He's obviously into his incredible craftsmanship.
So he pulls the sword out of the fire, out of the flames, and again it's that bright orange heat. It's just it's already hot in here, and it's exceptionally more so. You can feel the sweat increase on you guys. You've been in here maybe 20-25 minutes, and you're already like, all right, I need to empty this water skin. You're just sweating through, especially those of you in the heavy armor. And he just he grabs this thick hammer from his belt. I mean, the metal block is bigger than your head, and he starts pounding away on the hot steel.
Okay.
As you guys begin talking.
As we move down that way, heading down the hall to try to get to the area that he pointed out, I'll say in a hushed tone to try to make sure there's not a lot of overhearing. Would anybody have the means of purchasing anything here? He does seem willing and able to make something for us.
No. I would like something. Obviously, I'm not going to get at this thing, but I'll describe a weapon that I'm interested in having, and then if he's able to relay it.
Yeah. Well, when we come back to him upon leaving, I'll give him the information and see what he can do for you.
I mean, you guys are 10th level, so you would have coin.
Basically, I want a quarterstaff that instead of doing bludgeoning is like the 2-bladed swords and does slashing instead. So
you want a bladed staff?
Yeah.
Okay. When we come back, I'll relay the information and do as best I can.
Okay.
So we'll head that way, and unless we get stopped by the other giants, I'll just give them kind of a nod just to let them, I see them, hi, but keep walking.
So they don't seem to really pay you much mind. I mean, one of them kind of looks over at you and gives you more of a look, but you're looking at it, you kind of like, they're not worth my time. They're not causing trouble. Leave them be. And you get to a room or a set of doors. I mean, it doesn't look like the room beyond is all that all that much. You peek through and there's a whole bunch of shelves, and you can hear footfalls from within, and you see a giant fire giant, immaculately dressed for one of his ilk, and literally done up in a top knot. You can see this, wooden shaft that's, you can see a glint of emerald in, you know, in his, fiery red hair, green swirls of etching and magical writing, climb up this thing, climb up this wooden shaft, and it's just merely in his top knot.
Okay.
Change my mind. I'll take that.
Well, I think we're gonna have to. Um, I'll give a quick rap to the door frame next to me, but I'll infuse it with some thaumaturgy to make it more like a giant, so he can be more accustomed to the sound.
Nice.
And then, yeah, if he turns to me, I'll say, my apologies, but Arthur, I assume.
It is Ardor with a D.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Ardor, I assume.
Indeed, that is I. A bellowing voice, rings out, and he looks like he was, lost in thought, pacing around. He's trying to find something, within the room.
I'm sorry to bother you, but you seem lost in thought. Is there something that you're looking for?
Um, it's there's always something, but what is it the little folk need of the Fire Forge?
Well, to put it plainly, there is a beast that must be quelled, and I believe you have the one piece that can do this.
You ain't getting my stone, boy.
Stone, I might not be of need in, but I believe that you or one of your compatriots might have procured a spear, roughly the use of one of my size, within the last few days from a group of greenskin.
No, the toothpick that I took off that orc.
Mm-hmm.
What of it?
I was wondering if, one, you still had it, and two, what you would be willing to part with it for.
So he reaches up and delicately with his, two fingers, he pulls out, this this spear. It's 5 foot long, much smaller than most spears that you guys have seen. But now that it's so close, you guys can feel the power thrumming off of it. The blade of the spear, the point, is literally an emerald. It's carved and shaped to be a blade. As I said, the green spiraling etchings and sigils that are carved into this shaft, stand out. He's like, well, I've got this. It's really too small for me to use. Been kind of at war with the stone giants. You're willing to help us against them? We can negotiate.
I'm willing to hear your plight, and we'll see what my compatriots who are not so skilled in your tongue say about it.
And what is it that you want this, pretty little thing for?
That seems to be the only device that will put to sleep an ancient evil known as the Archon that we've been tasked to put down.
I'm mentally face palming, going, "Great, make it sound more important."
Oh, so this thing is special, huh?
Special is not how I would put it. I would put it more along the lines of required for safety. I believe that whatever this presence is will only grow in strength as time goes on, and if we can put it down before it becomes a nuisance, might make things easier for everybody in the land. Wouldn't want to sully your hands with such menial task, but unfortunately, us of such weak constitution would require that item to aid us, or one of your kin could aid us.
So, are you trying to say that you're weak? Are you worth a fight? Would you be? Kind of looks like he's trying to size you up. You know, not just you, but the group. Can you handle a fight?
Well, I can tell you that I myself, and will motion to Rylan, we have not met a foe that we weren't able to dispatch. I hope we are not in the presence of a foe.
At this point, I'll meet his eyes.
So he'll you know, when you mention the fact that he, you know, that your companions aren't understanding their tongue, he'll switch to comments so that you guys can all interact. Yeah, so like the whole part about, you know, are you able to handle a giant, blah blah blah. You guys have heard and are able to kind of weigh in on, should you so desire.
Okay.
Is he wanting a wrestling match?
Sir, you seem to have a discerning eye. You seem to have very good taste. As a matter of fact, that emerald goes very well with the red of your hair. But would you not prefer something that matched it a little more precisely?
You got something in mind?
I'm going to start pulling like some embedded like some jewelry. Like it would be a necklace on me, but it would serve perfectly like for hair, because I got like homeland jewelry as part of my background and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this, it's got a spider on it, but the abdomen is a ruby, and I'm gonna be like, this would absolutely bring out the fiery color, and it would do so much better than that emerald stick you use.
That's true, but this little man over here says this thing is special. Is that ruby special?
It has sentimental value, but it's no less special than the thing you're using there. It's less utilitarian, of course, but, you know, this belonged to a priestess of the goddess of my people once.
Well, I don't tend to tangle much with your priestesses. Am I gonna get?
Oh, she won't be wanting it back.
Okay, well then.
She's dead for that.
So I'll ask again. Are you folk able to handle fighting stone giants? You have
yes.
any interest in I give you this spear, you go do whatever it is that you're gonna do with it? You honorable enough to come and help us win this feud?
Allow us the means of putting down the Archon, then
You
have my hand.
Conquer them?
I'm with Conrad. Anything to ensure the safety of the forest.
What about you? Or are you frozen too, Mike?
No. Rock on. Let's go.
All right, well, we got a frozen Megan again, so I don't know.
It's a great screenshot, too.
Well.
No, Rylan asks if it's a matter of conquest.
I would say that, you know, when two segments are kind of warring, it sounds like conquest to me.
Well.
So,
My word is my bond. If we have that spear and we fell the beast, we will be back to you post haste.
I need just a slight bit more than words.
May I see the spear?
It's right there in front of you guys.
I'm able to touch it?
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to cast Identify on it just to see if it's something the spear itself is needed or if there's a certain type of enchantment that is what holds the beast in place.
All right. With Identify, it is a 5 foot long bone. It is a 5 foot long greenstone shaped into a 6-inch wide blade with green glowing groove in its center. Wielder gains a +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls. Attunement by a creature of neutral alignment grants the wielder freedom of movement as per the spell cast. And there does seem to be more, but
Not that I can tell.
the limited nature of Identify does not reveal all properties.
Correct. Interesting.
All right, so Megan says, yes, I am sworn to such practices. You have my sword, and I will aid you in driving these stone giants to the ground. So he kind of pulls you guys back out to the forge area, and we have the flames that the guy, the earlier giant that you were talking to, was forging something, and he's like, we tend to do things by fire around here, so if you're willing to seal your bond, your word in the flames, I'll call it good. I expect you back here as soon as you're done with this spear business.
Keldrum, do your fire hand thingy.
So
Keldrum will indeed.
he reaches into the fire, and he says, "By fire and by flame, my word is my bond. I will grant you this spear for your quest. If you return here and help me with mine." And he looks expectantly at the four of you.
I will do the same thing, give him my oath, but while I do it, I'm casting Absorb Elements to take half damage.
If he's putting his hand in the fire, then without moving, I will actually use Dampen Elements.
Okay.
And that will... Well, I guess he's already getting resistance, so disregard. That won't help.
Are we trying to do something to him?
Well, no. I thought Gaston was trying to do the same.
I am.
I'm not scared to put my hand in that fire. Let's go.
Okay. Well, then I'll do the same, but I'll Dampen Elements on myself.
All right.
Keldrum will cast Produce Flame on his hands as he gets near the fire, so trying to coat his hand in own fire and not...
Does that
Less hot.
Does that offer you any resistance whatsoever?
No.
Not by raw.
All right, so whoever puts their hand in the fire takes 10 points of fire damage. If you reduce it, you reduce it. Reduces to 5. It's not in there long. It's enough that it's like, ow, that hurts. That's damage. But
Do I need to roll not to make a face and to keep eye contact while I'm doing this? Because that's what I'm trying to do.
if you want to look like a badass, roll a Constitution save.
Keldrum definitively does not look like a badass.
All right, I'm on this.
And even though I only took half damage, I'm going to cry like a little biatch.
That was not the correct.
Conrad is the edgelord, and his life is
Not
pain,
a
so.
number. 11.
All right. So you grimace, but
Can't win 'em all.
you don't cry out. I mean, you didn't do anything to reduce the damage. You took a full 10, right?
No, I didn't. I took
All right.
the full brunt of
So
it, yeah.
like you pull your hand out, and there's definitely burnt and singed flesh, and like the fire giants are immune to fire. So like him putting his hand in that, you already saw the guy pull out
Nothing
a piping orange hot steel out of the fire, not caring. Like any smiths you've seen, they use tools and they wear gloves, doing everything to worry about it. This guy's standing there, in just a pair of breeches and not having a care in the world about touching this hot metal.
Almost more akin to doing dishes than blacksmithing.
Essentially.
Once I realized that I actually singed my clothes, I'm much more mad and complaining about that than the burn.
All right, so you guys wind up getting the spear, and he expects you guys to hold true to your word, and he says how long before you'll be back to finish this quest.
I'm going to estimate 3 days. Does that sound about right to you?
3 days sounds right.
All right, I expect you back here in 3 days. Oh, and thank you, Brenton Verlo, for the super chat. Shut up and take my gold. Well, if you're saying that as in that you're loving this material and you want to get access to the RPG crate, down in the description below, jump on that link. Don't forget to use the promo code, and you too could get all this wondrous adventure material plus awesome stuff like cool t-shirts in each crate and gaming books and minis and dice. It's awesome stuff.
Right,
but if you're turning to gold from these guys, well then
your GP or your HP.
So with that, you guys have the Spear of Imprisonment.
Okay. I'll let whoever's more appropriate take it. Most likely Caldrum or Gaston.
I'm not usually one for weapons, but this one in particular speaks to me.
Go for it. I just wanted to know what it did.
I guess we'll party our way down to the party.
All right, so you head out. By the time you've done all of this and make it out of the cave, I want all of you to make a Constitution saving throw.
One time I don't take resistance.
Ooh, I'm proficient in that.
10.
22.
15.
What was that, Keldrum?
18.
18. All right, so Keldrum and Conrad, you've managed to bear through the brunt of the heat better than your companions. Gaston and Rylan take a level of exhaustion.
Ouch. My favorite.
We are definitely going to need to rest before we take on that thing again. That was harrowing. And if you tell anyone I said that, I'll deny it.
Said what? I wasn't listening.
Good.
Search.
All right. Well, yeah, I suppose we can either make camp in front of the temple or find appropriate lodging for maybe the more soft in our group.
Disadvantage on ability checks.
It's just all skill rolls, that's all.
And initiative.
Which is a special skill roll.
It just classes an ability check.
So would concentration be a skill check, or is that a saving throw?
Saving
It's a
throw.
save.
That is a save? Okay.
So that's level 2, I believe, right?
I didn't look that far. I only have one level.
I don't have my...
Yeah. Speed halved.
Speed has is level
Yeah, 'cause
2.
I
Level
think
3 is attacks. And
Yep,
saving throws. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, 3 is where it really sucks.
Yeah. 6 is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
It's
Once you get to
really-
5, it doesn't matter.
It's really hard to get to 6 though, because at
Yeah.
5 you just don't move anywhere.
He's a sad berserker at that point.
At that point, I'd just rage anyway, just to get it over with.
That's true. Right.
I'm so angry I killed myself. What?
So are we camping in front of the temple, or are we finding softer accommodations?
I can build a hut.
Oh yeah, you got hut time. I guess we'll just.
I also have an ability called Hearth of Moonlight and Shadow, which I would explain creates a kind of sphere around wherever we rest that would hide us fairly well.
Hide the hut.
So you make an invisible hut, and then you hide the invisible hut. Got it.
Yes.
All right. So you guys
Layers
take.
upon layers.
I just drop to the ground and sleep.
Well,
Well, if you don't take your armor off, you're going to wake up with exhaustion anyway.
Okay, no, I do take my armor off first. After. I do nothing to help the group, is what I'm saying. I just go to bed.
Just to note, within the sphere, we do get a +5 bonus to stealth and perception.
Dang.
can't be seen anyways. But the orb has +5 to stealth checks,
Yeah.
or rather the hemisphere.
All right. So you guys have hidden twice over. The night goes by. You hear sounds of animals and wildlife, and probably something thrashing and stomping about the temple.
All right, let's go. Well, yeah, I should probably let you guys take the lead while I prep spells.
I am also going to change up my spells a bit now that I know some things about this creature.
I'm just gonna use all my spell slots for smites anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Most of the spells I know are rituals.
The
I
resistance
love rituals.
I took I took one for each spell level that isn't a ritual, just so that I had something to do. But
Like Chromatic Orb.
yeah, and Dispel Magic and Zone of Truth. Ooh, and Crown of Madness. I don't have a second level ritual. I feel cheated.
You could use D&D Beyond to be able to sort through spells with a ritual tag.
Yeah, it was too much work to hit the button.
No, that's the easiest thing to do, to be like, I need all the ritual spells.
Now I have to go look. All
All
spells.
right. So is there anything anybody else needs to do? Or do we fast track it to morning?
I'm
Are
going
you-
fast.
Is
I'm good at
the
this.
That
Yeah.
freeze butt again.
the druid attuning to the spear?
Yeah. I will.
So do you attune to it before you go to sleep or after you go to sleep?
I'll do it before.
All right. So your sleep is still restful. You're still able to get your long rest, but your dreams are full of old memories. The dawning of time when the world was different, magic was far more potent. You see empires rise and fall. You see magics hitherto unheard of. You see great events that dwarf anything that your paltry existence will ever have the chance to accomplish. And you wake up questioning, what will I be able to do in comparison to what has already become.
You would all notice in the morning, Keldrim is consistently just kind of glancing at the spear and seems a little bit distracted by his thoughts.
It's not your normal nature.
What, ponderous? Seems normal to
Sound
Shall
like
we get
Megan
this
typing,
done, then?
Ted.
What was that?
Keldrim would say, "Shall we get this done then?" He seems a bit anxious.
Just to get rid of it.
do it.
I'm gonna
I'm
laugh
so
if it's
ready to
cursed
go.
and you can't get rid of it.
Of course.
Well, we have to leave it in peace, so let's hope not.
We'll just have to leave him with it.
That would be my luck.
I'm ready if you guys are. Although I will admit I would much rather fight stone giants.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we'll do that too, and plenty of it.
All right, I am ready for the day. All my tricks are ready to go.
All right. So you guys are outside of the temple. How do you proceed?
I'd like to go into the temple.
All right. So as you enter the temple, Brayden is not around. It does appear that there's been some, even here in this front room, there's more damage. The doorway that you had as a secret entrance that you found before is been broken off off the wall and lies lies off to the side.
Seeing this, I will cross a symbol across my chest and cast Death Ward as I go to inspect this.
So you see scrapes and scratches along the tunnel, the stairs leading down in both directions. So you would surmise that at some point in time, the large creature, the Archon, pushed its way out and then pushed its way back in, clearly looking for something.
Is there okay. So there's nothing that leads me to believe it wouldn't be further in.
Correct.
Okay. I'll stand up and say it's been moving about. We must hurry.
Well, do we think it's down here now?
Everything indicates as such, but I am worried what it's up to.
Onward, then.
Indeed.
I can't remember. Were we able to understand this thing talk, or was it just him?
We'll take care of it first and then find the old fool.
I will... Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to, as everybody kind of like starts moving in, I will clench my fist and the tattoo on my hand will glow through my glove, and I will give aid to everybody. Everybody, including myself, will get 15 max HP at 4th level.
Wow. Thank you.
The creature could understand you guys before, so Gaston, you really didn't need to do that.
That's what I was asking, but I couldn't remember, so.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, and then as Rylan passes me, I will touch a hand to Rylan, and the ring will activate on his finger, activating Warding Bond.
Okay.
Put all my spell slot cubes off to the side since I'm burning them all.
check, 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 check.
Yeah, basically. And we'll
Def-
keep walking as I go through all my tactical plans.
So, there was 3 small rooms before you got to the room where you fought the creature before. But as you descend the stairs, the first room, you see the Archon this time, standing a good head taller than he was before. His eyes, fully alight, with that glowing green emeralds, the glowing green of an emerald. But that light seems to fully encompass his body, almost as if he's glowing like a torch himself. The areas where for the most part Rylan had struck him and the bark had flaked off. Not only has it regrown, but it seems thicker this time. And he looks down at you. Who was the first down the stairs? All right, so Rylan, who offered him his death. Yeah, he looks down at you and it's like, so you have returned. You see the folly of your ways. You have struck me down.
Oh, I'll finish you again.
I am merely stronger because of it. You
Yeah, we'll see about
have you returned to give the loyalty that you knowingly should give?
We're not worthy.
I think she's frozen again. Oh, there we go.
my loyalty is to me, and I don't think you deserve to continue walking around here.
So, with that,
Enough of this drivel. Let's go.
the
And I'm gonna attack.
the emerald, as you're getting ready to swing at him, the emerald light that surrounds him blinks, and you just see the light pour through the doorway. Your blade slashes through the air where he was, and you know that he's moved beyond the room that he was that you guys are in. He moves, further in towards the temple.
I give chase,
All right, as you
cursing him for a coward and row.
as you run through the doorway, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
The suspense is killing me.
Gotta love the internet, folks.
Do we though?
All right, so what are the 3 of you doing while Rylan rushes ahead?
Me?
Oh, we did for a second.
Um,
I would like to run after her.
All right, so are you right on her heels?
I doubt it. I don't actually run. I'm just like light jog, if anything.
All right, but you are pursuing or proceeding through without caution.
Yes.
Okay, then you 2 make a dexterity saving throw.
Awesome.
Megan, if you can hear me, if you could just let me know what the result of your dex check is in the chat.
Mine's a 10.
There's a 10.
Oh wait, I have inspiration. I might want to use that.
Do you wish to use that?
Oh,
Yeah, I think I'm going to. It's a 10. Because I re-rolled it and it was a 9.
All right, so as you run in, the fallen orc body that you guys had a conversation with reaches out and grabs your ankle, and you feel the vegetation begin crawling up your leg.
I will scream, "Get the nature off me!"
Make a Constitution save, sir.
I'm not good at saves, Ted. Apparently.
Well, yes, this is my plan.
Ooh, 22.
Ooh, okay. So it attempts to find root, and you manage to stop and scrape it off your leg before before it can, and you quickly jump to the side. The stuff has grown in the last day, but not enough that there's not an open path on the other side. But
I would like to turn up my nose and say nurture is clearly better than nature.
Don't make me yell at your plants, Ted. I will. Don't make me do it.
you're gonna yell at my plants.
I have the ability to make it my friend, and I will liberally use it.
All right. Do we have a Megan?
Oh, she's dead forever.
Well, we'll have to.
There,
Oh,
see, look, there she goes.
we love you, Megan.
Pulled into the
Oh,
abyss.
look at this die. She
Should
rolled a 13 plus whatever her dex save is.
plus 40. I'm sure.
Well,
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
She's a paladin of 10th level. Is that high enough to get, the charisma
Aura.
to save?
Yeah.
She's
I would say she's got a 0 dex mod, so I'd say 13 if she rolled a 10. It'll be a 16 plus charisma.
Yeah.
So, what are Conrad and Keldrum doing?
Conrad would have followed, but he's still milling and planning and assessing all situations
So
simultaneously.
is he moving with caution?
Yeah, but
What-
he probably wouldn't be focusing on the whatever's coming out at him from the ground. That's probably not something he'd look at.
What about Keldrum?
Keldrum would be moving with caution and reluctantly, kind of futilely calling after Rylan, like, "No, don't. All right," and proceeding with caution.
All right. So then, if you're not paying attention to the floor, Conrad, you two can make a dex save. We know what you get.
16.
16. So you're able to get out of the way. Keldrum, being cautious and seeing this thing lash out at several of your foes, you're like, or not your foes, your allies. You step off to the side as you begin pursuit. Where is thing here? I need my person who's in front to be able to respond as to what's going on.
I just Facebook messaged her, so hopefully she can at least get a number.
So you guys are quite attuned to your surroundings. As you're sitting here dealing with the this thing having fled, and the orc vegetation mass kind of lashing out at you guys. You hear a storm rolling in.
Okay. Unless something terrible befalls Rylan, I imagine we'll keep pressing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that part out and backtrack it, but
Yep.
we're gonna have to just press forward. So that is in that room. You guys press on to the room where there were a bunch of orc bodies.
Mhm.
This time, as you enter, all of the orcs have been pulled up into a standing position by roots that have come down from above. They're decayed bodies, their crushed bodies have kind of just been wrapped around by these tendrils. Their heads kind of just fall to the side, but their limbs seem to kind of be held up by puppet strings, if you want to make that association.
Conrad will continue in stride, revealing his holy symbol on his fist, and say, I have no time for this. Bow to Eurodrill. And I will use charm plants and animals on all of them.
Nice.
It's a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw.
16 wisdom save.
If they are beast and or plant. It was either destroy undead or charm plants, so I figured I'd go with the plant first.
I think Gaston's having a crisis at this point, whether he wants to avoid plants entirely or turn vegetarian to get rid of as many as possible.
All right, so there are 8 of these creatures, and bizarrely, the fact that they're not wise at all, half of them have managed to shake off your magic.
Well, at least we have the 4 to deal with.
So does that are they under your control? How does your charm work, sir?
I will get to the specifics since it actually stuck. Until it takes damage, they are charmed and they are friendly to myself and others. So basically, just normal charm. They're
Okay.
friendly. They're friendly to myself and everybody else in the room.
Until they take any damage whatsoever, or damage from your party.
It specifically says any damage, so I guess if they damage themselves, I mean, whatever.
Quit hitting yourself.
Yeah, like I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but
All right. So what are you doing with these things? You've got 4 of them.
well, they're just charmed, so I don't have any control of them. They just see me and everybody else as a friend, while the other 4 are still not nice.
So what do you
They're
guys
like-
do?
Well, I mean, if the other 4 don't interpose themselves, then I'm gonna keep walking. But if they interpose, then we're gonna have to deal with those 4. Because as of right now, Conrad thinks that he stopped them all.
Last I heard was Conrad going, I got this, and so I'll keep going as well.
Let me just try to figure
Am I
this
back?
out.
Oh.
Hey, there you are.
What was your dex save?
Okay, it's been like restarting itself repeatedly. I'm sorry, I missed whatever happened in between when I first disconnected and like up until now.
You
Alright.
need a deck save.
I heard something about like vine puppets.
Yes.
When you
Okay.
when you charged into the room after this creature,
Yeah.
the orc vegetation that was on the ground covered in moss and mold lashed out at you, you being the first one through the room. So I needed a dexterity save from you.
Can we just assume I failed it since I wasn't here for like the entire combat that followed?
There wasn't a combat that followed. We moved on. We like figured out everybody else and then moved on to the next room waiting for you, and we're willing to,
Oh,
We're about 12 seconds ahead of
I'm
where
sorry.
you are.
My throw is like an 8 though, so I probably did fail
All right,
it.
so you did fail. So the creature lashes out at you, and just like with Gaston, the mold begins to creep and crawl up your leg. I need a Constitution saving throw.
Also be like
I should
Gaston and
do
roll good
better
on this
that.
one.
Ooh, I nat 20 that one.
Nice.
Hey.
All right, so you, just as Gaston did, realize that it's there. You saw the nastiness try to get root in your leg. It's literally trying to burrow into you, and you're able to scrape it off before it does so. So now that I've figured out the pattern at which you you have them charmed, there's 2 rows of 4 of these essentially puppet orcs. 3 in the back row and 1 in the front row have resisted, or have resisted your charm. So you could try to barrel through them and move on to the last room, or you can attempt to sit here and kind of slug at them. What is it that you want to do?
You know what? Conrad's a stubborn fellow. He is going to show the emblem once more and say, I said you are compelled. And I will use my second channel divinity to do it again at the last 4.
Okay.
On mindless vines, be mine.
All right. So all but one of them, are now yours. So if you look at the front row, rightmost orc plant puppet, they all are just kind of staring at you. That one is still like arms out in that marionette phase, like it's ready to take you on.
I don't like that one.
Can I cast sleep just on that one?
Go sleep.
Sure, you can try. See what happens.
Ooh, that's decent.
Get a sense for its HP.
19, 27.
Okay. It either has more than 27 hit points or is not affected by your spell.
I tried and keep walking out.
Yeah, I guess I'll just try to, since it's only one of them, I guess I'll
Hug
just,
the left.
yeah, I'll just try to get through without dealing with it.
Can I just cast darkness like centered around that one?
So, I mean, do what you want to do, but something tells me that its eyes are not very useful right now.
I missed the description, so you're probably right. Let's just go.
They're basically dead orcs being marionetted by vines.
So, who is the first one into the next room?
That would be Conrad.
All right, make a dexterity save, sir.
All day. Ow. 2.
2.
Ow.
How closely is anyone following Conrad?
I learned my lesson last room.
I am following very closely. So
All right, then you two can make a dexterity save.
I was just double checking the aura of protection rules, seeing if I have to like use an action to activate it or if it's a passive thing.
It's a passive.
That means you
Okay,
probably
well,
have a 5.
In that case, any friendly creature within 10 feet of me that must make a saving throw gets a bonus to the saving throw equal to my charisma modifier, which is +3.
Okay.
So, just bear that in mind.
All right. So
to that end, I got a 10 on my throw.
all right. So both Conrad and Rylan take 23 points of lightning damage as a blast of lightning, rockets from the room.
I'll use dampen elements to reduce that down to 12.
Okay.
Not for
11.
you, Rylan.
Right,
20,
that's fine.
20. Oh, you're
23
right.
goes
You're
with
right.
it.
11. Yeah.
I snarl something and drow.
And standing in the room that the two of you can see is again.
I'm
this,
sorry. Before
forest.
that, Rylan, you actually do take half of that. You take 11, and then I take another 11.
Yes.
So I take 22.
Oh,
you take 11. So we kind of. I reduced the damage
Still
by
less than
1 and
cumulative
switched
damage.
to tokens.
You flipped it.
But I reduced the damage by 1, so haha.
You did.
You win D&D, good sir.
This is the magic of that.
That 1 hit point will make all the difference.
Okay.
All right. So I'm assuming you guys would be interested in figuring out that initiative, huh?
Yeah.
Probably.
Dropping those 2s, babe.
Woohoo! Gotta love 2s
You got 8 again, Megan.
when you guys roll them.
8.
And what do you got there, Conrad?
Oh, 2.
Oh, a total of 2. Wow.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm not gonna throw out half the number.
Gaston is 7.
Caldrim at 13.
Yep, I got it. All right, Keldrum, what are you doing?
I am going to run into the room and try and see where that lightning came from. So moving into the room.
You could make a religion check or Arcana check.
Okay.
I just hope it wasn't my lightning stored for later.
15 with religion.
It's call lightning spell.
Okay.
Oh,
You guys heard the storm.
The storm. Yeah.
that began brewing.
Oh.
inside?
And here's me. I was like, you know what? I don't need to prepare dispel magic.
I have dispel magic.
That's one of the reasons why I didn't.
And I can see the Archon in the room at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's standing in the middle of the room, ready for you.
I'm going to go ahead and waste no time and say, let's get this over with. And I'm going to cast Erupting Earth at 4th level. So a fountain of churned earth and stone erupts in a 20-foot cube centered on the point that I choose. I'm choosing right in the center of him. So he has to make a dexterity saving throw.
You putting him in a planter box?
Pretty much.
What's your DC, Calvin?
My DC is 17.
Ooh,
Yeah, those 10th level DCs.
Mm-hmm.
got a 20. Not a natural 30.
Okay. So he will take half damage. And then the ground in that area is difficult terrain.
Okay.
Except for you, because you have that spear, right?
Oh, unless it's magical means that it doesn't trump.
It's magical.
No, I'm saying that.
Or-
I don't know if the spear trumps magical
Right.
means.
So what did you
So-
do, sir?
15 damage, half to 7.
Oh.
And then is that concentration to maintain the difficult terrain?
No.
What's the
Erupting.
duration?
Duration. The difficult terrain, it's difficult terrain until cleared, and each 5-foot square portion of the area.
Oh, so you just destroy the
requires-
ground.
Yeah,
so
the
it's
ground
not
is-
magical then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be magical, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
The effect of messing the earth up would be.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll actually use my bonus action really quick to drop 2d6 of healing on Conrad. So 7 HP and 2 temp HP, and that's from my Balm of the Summer Court ability. And then I will end my turn.
So as you do so, he reaches out, and I'm assuming that there was conversations that you had before, and the last time you guys entered in this room, Gaston had detect magic up, and you saw that this creature was siphoning energy from other things. He reaches out, one of his hands, and before you saw, Gaston saw like green energy being manipulated, but dark black and purple streams of magical energy erupt from his hands straight into you, Kaldrum.
Okay.
I need a Constitution saving throw.
Absolutely. 19.
19. Okay, so you'll take half.
Always good.
So you halved, you take 20 points of necrotic energy.
Ouch. Okay.
All right, I would like to note that would I have seen him doing that
Yes.
and the effect on him? Next time I see that happening, I'm going to counterspell it
Okay.
if possible.
Okay. Rylan, you're up.
Okay, so my attacks are an 18 and a 21.
Okay, they both hit.
Excellent. All right, so that would be 15 slashing damage total and 24 radiance total. Because I smite both times.
Okay. Gaston, you're up.
All right, so for Dispel Magic, do I think that I can dispel the Call Lightning from in here, or would I have to exit the temple?
The magic is being created here, so you're pretty certain that you could shut it down.
Okay. And then the spot where he's gathering his magic from, like where he touched, do I feel like that could be dispelled, or is
that's like what you
like a layer effect?
Yeah, like the initially what you saw was, just like the kind of nature of what this creature is. Dispel magic
Okay.
is not going to cancel out divinity.
All right. I will just try to dispel the Call Lightning then.
There is no try. You cast a spell and it shuts Call Lightning down.
Perfect.
Happen to be a spell level higher than your dispel magic. Then it's a test.
Well, yeah, this wasn't a test. Dispel magic, call lightning,
Yeah.
both third level spells. There's no chance of failure. Conrad, you're up.
Okay. I will run up behind Ryland, place a hand on his back. I will bless him with Shield of Faith. Then I will back away from that ensuing combat. And so Ryland now has an effective AC of 19, and I will Sacred Flame this beast. Radiant damage coming at it if it fails a DC 16 Dexterity saving throw.
It does fail.
Okay, it'll take 11 radiant damage.
Okay. And we are back to the top of the order, if that's all you got, Conrad.
It is.
All right, Keldrin, you're up.
All right. I'm going to use my bonus action to use my Hidden Paths ability. It allows me to teleport up to 60 feet as a bonus action.
Okay.
And I'm going to get right up next to the side of it.
Okay.
And then I am going to cast Thunderwave.
Lightning damage shouldn't do anything. Oh, that's
Thunderwave.
Never mind.
Thunder damage.
Yeah.
Thunderwave does thunder damage, and if you go at it from the side, you will hit Rylan as well.
He should be able to move the cube.
Yeah, because it's a cube.
To any direction he wants, so he could he can aim it anywhere he wants and be on any surface of it.
Okay. You can adjust it around to since.
Hell, if it's taller than us, he can just aim it up at its head.
Yeah, positioning wise, yeah, you can. It's going to take some work, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would prioritize not hurting any of my allies.
Yep.
So even if that puts me at a more disadvantageous position. So that is a Constitution saving throw on his part.
And what was your DC again?
17.
Not gonna do it.
All right. So he is going to take at 3rd level 12 thunder damage. And he is pushed back 10 feet.
All right. He is gonna use that 10 feet to gear up and proceed to punch the crap out of you, sir.
Okay.
He just decides to unload on you. So you take 39 points of damage as he just pummels the crap out of your face.
Still up, buddy?
Still up.
Is that the first damage you've taken?
No.
He's in the fast track to Boo Boo Town.
Pretty happy that I had aid cast on me. I'd be looking a lot worse.
There's one thing this guy is. He is very meticulous in his preparations, despite his bravado.
That brings us to Ron.
Okay, so my attacks are a 14 into 24. I know the 14 won't hit. I presume the 24 will.
24 hits.
Okay, so that's 11 slashing damage and 10 radiant as I smite again.
All right. ¿Estás alles? I'm going to assume yes, since you muted herself.
Yeah.
Gaston, you're up.
Yes.
Okay. I will attempt to cast Fairy Fire again, so DC 14 Dex save.
DC 14 Dex.
Is there, with 2 people, is there a way not to get him? Or my allies, I mean? Like if I do it higher in the air?
Yeah.
He did get pushed back 10 feet.
Oh, did he?
That
Okay.
helps. Yep.
I'm gonna be nice and say yes. You know, since we're doing Theater of the Mind style, I'll be nice and say you don't get your allies.
Next turn, I won't.
I got a 19 on my on the die roll, so we're good.
Don't worry about it. always roll good on my saves, Ted. Jeez.
I mean, it's the luck of the draw, you know. Conrad, you're up.
All right. You're going to see Conrad ball a fist, and as he does, the ethereal club will leave the club behind on his hip, but an ethereal club will jump off his hip and cast spiritual weapon at 4th level.
Nice.
And it will go. We're gonna go clubbing. Yeah. What a big old 23.
23 hits.
All right, and it does base 1d8. So here comes the 2d8. This is going to be, math is hard. It is going to be 12 force damage to the noggin. And then, after that, can I get a DC 16 dexterity saving throw as we bring down more sacred flames?
All right. 3 on the die is not going to do it.
10 radiant damage. And then he'll say, as he's bringing down all this powerful energy, is that enough for you, Rylan? And we'll keep bringing the pain.
I laugh.
Keldrin, you're up.
All right. Keldrin, kind of reeling back from that last hit, is going to take a second to focus up, and I'm going to use my bonus action to use Balm of the Summer Court on myself, and I'm going to drop 5d6 of that. So that is 8, 12, 16, 17 HP. I'm looking a little bit better. And then with my regular action, I'm going to use Erupting Earth again. I'm putting it as far back as I can, so it's hitting just him. since it's a
It's a 20-foot cube, and it's affecting the ground. You're 10 foot away on one side. Ryland's 5 feet away from him on the other. There's no way that you're gonna hit.
there's no way. Okay.
It would get all three of you, and possibly Conrad or Gaston as well.
I will belay that then.
Hit points are a resource, man.
I mean, the room that you guys are in is only 30 foot across. So there's not a whole lot of room in here to manipulate the ground.
Fireball.
That sucker.
Yeah, fireball would work. You get everybody.
I will instead then run up and use primal savagery against him.
All right.
So that is a spell attack. That is a 13.
13's gonna miss.
Okay. I am done then.
So he begins to summon this dark purple energy in his hand again, and he is reaching out towards you, Keldrin. Gaston?
He's muted.
You are muted.
I counterspell that.
All right. Make an Arcana check, sir.
Crap. I was hoping I didn't have to roll dice. I got good Arcana, though. Ooh, 22.
All right. So you, I mean, it's not Arcana. It's technically, I mean, it might even be the same thing, but it's your spell attack bonus is what you're adding to the die roll.
Then it's 22.
I thought it was probably the same thing.
I'm always scared with that, so I always pump it to like 5th level. Like,
I only have 3rd level spells. Oh, actually, I only have 2nd level spells.
Multi-class, I remember that.
So you reach out and you begin to disrupt the pattern of energy that he is calling forth, and the spell washes away, and his glare turns from Keldrim straight to you, Gaston. And Rylan, you're up.
Is she muted too?
Yeah, you're
She
muted.
is muted. I don't know.
How can you guys tell?
Because we can see the little mic icon.
Yeah.
I don't see her at all.
Oh. She's there for us.
All right. Well, while we're waiting for her to figure out what's going on, Gaston, what are you doing?
Something tells me hers is 2 attacks. That's my.
I am now scared that I pissed it off, so I am going to rage and rush in and start beating it with my quarterstaff.
I'm so afraid of this thing. Better get closer.
Okay, my back.
Oh, there you are.
Go ahead. Perfect. I'll do mine while she does hers.
Am I
Nice.
here? Are we good?
Yep, we can hear you. I think she's typing.
I can hear her typing.
Well, she will just put what she does in the chat. She knows the drill. She's smart. He's smart. How are you gonna look at it? All right, 15 on the first attack misses. 19 on second. Assuming the 15 didn't hit, that would be 12 slashing damage and 13 radiant. So yes, the one attack, total 25 points of damage. I will make note.
All right. Can I do my rage at the reckless one where I get advantage?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I still miss on the first one because I rolled a 4 and a 5. And I miss, let's see, 18 on the die.
All right, 18 on the die. I know you've got bonuses, so you'll hit.
All right. Ooh, max damage. So 12 bludgeoning damage. Because I'm using it two-handed.
So the recent attacks by Rylan and Gaston have really started to show that this creature is wearing. And Conrad, you're up. I was almost ready to take my turn out of order. I'm like, all right, Gaston attacked. I get to attack him with advantage.
I do it all the time, man. I hope I hit, but I'm probably not going to because this is how this goes. All right. I am going to bring my hands together and coalesce a powerful green radiant energy, and then I will fire it out as a level 5 guiding bolt.
Nice.
I'm about to fireball.
No way.
Nat 20, my good sir.
Oh, nice.
We've become 16 d6s real quick.
Yes.
Well,
Need a
now
dice roller.
would be a great time to use that Nerdarchy dice app.
It really would. If only.
If only they made it for Android.
Yeah.
Last I heard, they were working on it. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. I have
Clean
okay,
contests depress me.
We're gonna do it old.
All right,
We're gonna do it old school.
First level is 4d6, right?
Yes,
And it's
and
an
then
additional d6 for each level thereafter. So fifth level goes to 8d6. Crit goes to 16d6.
Yeah.
Wow! And then
Yeah.
it grants advantage to the next person that attacks it.
which will be my spiritual weapon.
Let's find out the result of 16d6 there.
We're gonna batch roll
18.
this, and I'll type them in as they happen.
Oh man.
Okay, 14. 12 plus.
What are you rolling, 4 at a time?
4 at a time. Yeah, that's all I had handy. I was not expecting to actually do this. I was like, whenever you cast it that high, it has to miss.
Ooh. 4d6 and you got 20. Nice.
Yeah, it was retarded, but it's not gonna happen. 10, and then the final batch.
See, I said something about the 20, and the dice are like, I gotta correct this.
You know what? I am totally happy with those numbers.
Yeah.
All right, so 30,
Dang.
40, 60 points of damage.
How do you want to do this?
In the words of Mr. Matthew Mercer, how do you want to do this?
Yeah, so I guess when he coalesced this power, it goes beyond all expectations as a beam of energy crackling just goes through, punching a hole into this thing, and as the hole's coalescing, he'll yell, "Keldrum, now!"
At which Keldrum will take the spear, kind of do a little twirl above his head, and just jab
Nice.
it into the...
As his spell goes off, I would like to dive out of the way, thinking it's a fireball.
I just imagine it's like a Spartan laser just
Be like, oh shh.
So the bolt of radiant energy, aims for dead center mass, breaking open, huge amounts of bark and flesh as it does 60 points of damage. It blasts such a hole. You see the sap and the juices flowing out of this thing's chest. Conrad calls out to Keldrum, now! You leap up, overhand thrust, dead center, you implant the spear, it staggers back, and just like the first time you walked into this room, it's falls back upon this altar. Lights dim from the body, lights dim from the eyes, all but a slight smidgen as it searches, locking on to each of you for just a moment, and then they wink out, and it lies there unmoving, wounds unhealing. So, with that, you have done your due diligence. Head out of the temple. You're able to find Braden. Let him know that order has been restored. The creature is once again set to rest. Question is now, are you going to help the giants, or do you say, well, we got what we wanted, and head off in another direction?
gotta stick to that word. Conrad will be helping the giants.
Yeah, I'm going back to the giants because I really like the idea of conquering a bunch of giants.
All right, the fact that it's already after 11 o'clock, tell me what we'll rush through. You go back to the giants. You get you get the audience. They get together this war party. They go and they attack this group of hill giants. You tell me, what do you do in this battle? How does your character shine? So, Conrad, what do you do?
Well, he prepares the battlefield with a spike growth, and once all of the giants get there, he will hit them with a grasping vine. And then if things get down to it, the tried and true spirit guardians will come in to mop up.
Nice. Gaston, how does your character shine in the battle against the stone giants?
Will I have been able to acquire the new weapon that I wanted?
You would not have been able to get it before the fight.
Okay.
But
I would imagine that during my rage at one point I was knocked unconscious and then brought back into the fight by one of the people that is able to actually heal.
Kaldrin would be on it.
Yeah, and then once I'm up, I would slowly sneak away and then just never be seen again.
When you've got the chance to add in epic story, you have to go Fragonator fashion, don't you?
Nobody in their right mind that has ever seen one of these would think that I would do something awesome. So there's no point. I mean, if it comes down to rolling dice, I'm screwed. So I'll just make up the story how it would go anyway.
But there's no rolling dice here. You get to insert whatever you want.
No.
And you want, I get knocked unconscious and slink away sad.
Yep.
Keldrim, how do you make your character, known, or what do you do impressive during this fight?
Throughout the majority of the fight, Kaldrin would be tossing healing spells towards his allies and any of the fire giants that got hurt. And at a key moment, he would cast his Wrath of Nature spell and turn the rocks of the stone giants against them. And they would battering against the stone giants.
And last but certainly not least, Rylan, how do you make a showing or do something impressive to help the fire giants against their rivals? No.
I go one-on-one against one of the stone giants, jam my sword eye socket and into its brain, and then I decide these fire giants are some, and I kind of want to just hang out with them forever, so I proceed to make my home outside their caves because they're awesome and they're my people.
All right, so Rylan decides that he wants to become besties with the fire giants, and after putting on such a show, they're you're small, but they kind of dig you. So there you go. That is my my interpretation, my re-envisioning of the material by RPG Crate. It is fantastic material provided, every single month. If you want to jump in and grab your own copy, link down in the description below, rpgcrate.com. You can use the coupon code Nerdarchy RPG Crate to get 10% off your first month's adventure or your first month's crate. They come in a cool box like you see behind me here. I'm always excited to see what's in store. You get gaming books, you get cool adventure material, you get awesome stuff that you can do using your game. As I said, you get cool t-shirts. And I don't even know how he gets the awesome deal to be able to throw all the stuff that he puts in that box. So thank you guys for watching. Thank the four of you guys and gals for playing. And as always, until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.